Yes, people, we're back. Never a foul. Instead of a Wednesday, we're doing a Thursday night stream because it's something special today because the Premier League fixtures are out. And I think it's nice because the first time we've come together, it's me, Daps, obviously the host of Never a Foul, and we've got Bains in, my guy at the bottom there. So people, make sure you do hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure you're subscribing to all the channels. We've got Feed the Goat down below. We've got Trafford Tunnel for Manchester United. And most importantly, with Never a Foul, we are on our way to 3K subscribers. I think we'll get there very soon as well. So we're feeling good. But yeah, people, if you just jumped over from Trafford Tunnel and you're new to this channel as well, like I said, I'm going to be on here much more. Me and Daps actually run this channel with Soups as well. So this is actually my birth channel. This is where it all started and began. So this is where I belong. So yeah.
It didn't well. That was two Thai talks, actually.
Yeah, that's true. Good point, actually. And then yeah, people, just say if you are new to this from there, please make sure you're subscribing and supporting. Daps, man, it feels weird. I'm normally next to you when we're doing a show in the cave, but I'm back. Like, I'm 5 minutes up the road.
Yeah, we did very briefly during COVID times. We probably did a few like this, isn't it?
It is, man. How you doing, though? You're all blessed today, yeah?
Yeah, I'm all right. Hay fever's on a mad one today. The heat's on a mad one. But yeah, I'm good. It's nearly the weekend.
Someone said your mic isn't sounding great. Wait, I feel I can hear him cool.
Yeah, I'm calm.
Yeah.
Testing, 1, 2.
Yeah, clear. Yeah, proper.
I bet you it's better now.
Yeah, much better. Yeah, that's all good. So that's all good. Bains, what are you saying, man? We literally just jumped on the stream from Trafford Tunnel over to this. Then we had your show come out earlier on Statman Bains' YouTube. Yeah, man. Busy one for you.
I'm calm. It's just boiling hot, man. You get the fans out.
It is. But the fans are going to be out full force soon.
Everyone don't like going
tomorrow.
Yeah, everyone don't like working in the office, yeah? But I was saying to someone today, right now, I want to go in the office to get that aircon. You get me? It's the only place where the aircon's actually all right.
You know what the maddest thing is, though, yeah? You'll probably know him. You know Buddha, yeah? One? Yeah. So he works in my building. He does the aircon in that, yeah? And he had it so cold today, I had to email him physically, like, yo, turn this down. Like, you know, when you walk down the corridor, it's warm, and you walk in, you're like, I'm in ice. Goosebumps. So, like, it's hard because when you're in an office, they can't juggle the aircon. You don't know who's warm and who's not.
They're dead with it in all offices. No one gets it right in offices.
They are proper, man.
And they'd skip. You know what? At least your companies are putting it on. Like certain companies, I'm not going to name no names, but like trying to leave it off and that to save energy bills. Yeah.
Tight times, man. Tight times. Big up, Leonard. Hopefully the mic is working better. Clinical says big up the man them as well. Love that inside. I'm so sorry I've not joined since forever. It's the French Theo. Oh, big up Theo, man. Long time.
Bonjour, ça va? I don't know. Bonjour, mate. Hello.
Yeah, love that, man. Hope you're well, Theo. Good to see you back in that. Well, you know, we've had a break ourselves, but now we're back. So we're back at the same time. So it's all good. Big up, lads, as well. Big up Josh inside as well. So like I said, people, make sure you are liking the video, are subscribing. And then also after this, you can check out Trafford Tunnel and also Statman Bains' video, where if you are a Manchester United fan, we've done a long video on everything Ten Hag faces at the club. But yeah, man. First of all,
well, that must have been a very long video, bro. How long was that?
Hour and 8, you know, it was all right.
Well, if you manage to wrap up what Man United have to deal with it in an hour and 8 minutes, that's all right, you know.
Listen, man, we're calm, man. We're calm going into the season, isn't it? Let's just say we're moving in silence, isn't it? Shout out Coach Gang.
I want Daps to be like this. I want him to enjoy it. I want him to smile.
Look, I said, Bains, you heard me last night. I'm like that. I'm not sure.
I'll watch that with Ten Hag, innit?
Yeah, it could go either way. I think it's not as I think people will be surprised because I think you've got rid of maybe some. I don't want to say bad eggs, but you got rid of. You know when you got two kids that they're calm, but you get them together and they're just naughty. Yeah. Neither of them are troublemakers, but you get them together, they're naughty. So you've kind of maybe pulled some of them pairings apart, and then now you've got a coaching, and you might actually find some players start coming good, and maybe even positions you don't. If he's as good as Pep, you might find players that you don't expect in certain roles.
That's true. Do you know what? Actually, it's funny you say that because one thing people say about Ten Hag is he likes players that are versatile, and Pep's always been heavy on that, and that makes sense considering he was under Pep at Bayern. So that is a very good point. Not even going to throw a random name out there, but you know, like Victor Lindelof, Bains, for example, people have said right sometimes he could play at DM or right back. Like there's just stuff like
there's
that.
Something I don't know. I feel like Lindelof at right back could be very interesting going into the season. You know how you used him right back at times.
Well, we done it at Atletico because I have bad memories because I was with Daps.
Yeah, I know, but like this is different, isn't it? Like this is 10-0. It's not Ralph, innit?
Yeah.
Like Lindelof first centre back in possession, progressing the ball. I think could be interesting.
Yeah, it is going to be massively interesting. I think with like Daps being mixed, I can understand it because we've had the big managers and stuff come in before. What I love, I just feel like for once in the post year since Ferguson, this is actually a different approach. But that different approach then means the unknown, because it could either work well or you could be like, oh, well, you've tried it and it's backfired. And I think that's what leaves us excited as Man United fans, which I think Daps can understand. It's like when City had that sort of takeover side, it's like, well, we're going for something different now. It's that change. It could, it might not have worked out. Look at that Russian team. Do you remember Angie Makalala? Do you remember when they got Eto'o and all that?
Yeah,
they're done now, innit?
Yeah, like they can't. They're not even a team no more. Like everyone was like, look at this team. So sometimes it doesn't work out when you go for a change, but hopefully it does with us. But like I said, people, let's get straight into the show. We're going to be discussing the top 6 fixtures, how we think it's all going to pan out for all these clubs, and yeah, man, let's get on the roll. So here we are. Big up Suits with the slides. These are sick. We are going to start with Liverpool. I think it was only right we started with Liverpool because Yusuf's here, which you've timed it to perfection, Yusuf. So you're going to tell us now that you're going to win every game. Shamelessly. Of course. Of course.
And Nunes is going to score 70 goals in league only.
With no
off the bench.
Yeah, off the bench. But we'll look at Liverpool's fixtures. I think it's right that we only start with a team that we don't support. And this is an interesting one because with Liverpool, I always feel like Chelsea, in the years that we've watched the Premier League, right, Chelsea have always got off to a quick start. It always seems to be Chelsea winning games, and then people start throwing them into title contention and so forth. Liverpool are that type of team where they start well, but they always draw 1 or 2, and then they go on a good run. And when you look at Liverpool's run this year, you look at Fulham away, you're looking at Crystal Palace, Manchester United, Bournemouth, and Newcastle. I am going to put it out there. They couldn't have wished for a better start. I do not want to hear no excuses from Liverpool fans. I'm not here trying to troll or anything like that. Liverpool have got a super run. Fulham will win. Palace, for me, they win. Manchester United, they could easily go and win because they're a team that are complete right now. Bournemouth at home and Newcastle at home. 3 out of them 5 home games and 1 away game to Fulham. Now, I'll be honest. That is a start that makes me feel a bit scared. And it's not scared because I feel like Liverpool win that and the league's over. It's not that. Just Liverpool are that type of team for me that I don't want to see get on an early momentum run after 5 games. Because, once they start scoring and then players hit full flow, it's quite hard to peg them back. They're not a team that are just going to drop loads of points. Yes, in lockdown 2 years ago, I remember Van Dijk and he got injured and all of a sudden they capitulated. It's different now. For me as a rival looking at Liverpool, I was pissed off when I saw this run. Daps, I'm going to come to you first, yeah? Obviously, you're co-hosting it with me anyway. You have had run-ins with Liverpool fans that I have not had for years because it's you two at the top, year after year, rivaling each other. They gave it all the talk about best team ever and ended up with 2 trophies, the ones we don't care about. But anyway, when we look at Liverpool and what you're looking at as a rival here, because we're not rivals to Liverpool. We are in terms of teams, but not what we're competing for. Did this make you think, do you know what? I wish they had a bit of a tougher run. Or you like, do you know what? Let them win them games. We'll win ours.
Well, no, I'm not even saying let us win ours. Listen, we never start well, right? I think we started once, and that was the season that we like 100-point season. We never start the season once. Last season, Liverpool and Chelsea were flying at the start. Couldn't give a shit how Liverpool start the season. It's how you end the season. And that is honest truth. It's like when someone says to me, do I worry about who Liverpool buy? I don't care who they buy neither. It's got to the point now, where look, you know what I'm like, Ty. You know what I'm like, especially at the start of the season. It's got to a point now where I've got that confidence now, bro. The confidence is just, we've done it too many times. Like that last season just showed me when it gets, I always say business end of the season, we come alive. But last season, we just proved it with a whole new team. There was no one from back in the day and we still did it. And honestly, I couldn't care less. I expect Liverpool to win all those games, but it doesn't. I mean, if they don't, that's a bonus.
Yeah, that's quite a good way of looking at it, actually. So it's not like you don't care, but it's like a smart way of psychology, which I like. It's like, well, you're expected to win them games, so go and win them then. If you don't, actually, we're capitalizing on you because everyone thinks you're going to win them. And I think that's quite a good way of looking at it and a clever way of looking at it. I think a lot of people will agree with that, actually. What else?
The other thing is, I'm putting it out there. I've put it out there already, but I'm going to put it out there from early right now. I expect Liverpool to get some muscular injuries next season. Because if you look at City and Liverpool over since we've been going at it, it's been us have a season of a lot of injuries. They have a season of a lot of injuries. And last season was our turn. And I wouldn't say we had loads, but towards the end we did. Liverpool didn't really have too many injuries last season, yeah. And with the short summer, even with the fact that we've got the World Cup as well, I honestly predict Liverpool are going to get some injuries next season. And I'm not wishing it. I'm just putting it out there that I've looked at the way the seasons go, and especially when you look at how many games they played last season, I think Liverpool are going to struggle with injuries this year.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment, and I think it's quite interesting, Bains. I'll get your first take on what Daps has just said about the injuries, and when you look at fixtures as well. And by the way, Leonard, I just want to get this one thing out. Leonard, I have starred your question about Haaland, but when we talk about City, we'll talk about that. So I can star questions, so I will make sure I get to them later on. Make sure you like and subscribe in the video, people. With Daps, before I come to Liverpool fixtures, Bains, what you think with Daps saying about injuries, because we know, and we discussed it earlier actually. With Jurgen Klopp, when he come in and tried adopting that footballing approach with the high press and everything, they did get a lot of injuries, Liverpool. And yes, they won some games, drew some games, and lost some games. But you can see the football they were trying to play, but it did impact the side, obviously, with the injury side of it. When you look at Mane potentially going, you've got Núñez coming in, you have got players like Jota, but Firmino is slowly getting his injuries now. He's getting a bit older. Liverpool need number 8s. They're starting, they do need to freshen up a little bit. I do believe that last year, like Dap said, it weren't like Liverpool were scintillating. They were getting by with some games. Do you feel like with these fixtures now, before the World Cup, we've even got a midweek game, by the way, at the end of August, which is the 3rd week of the Prem. Do you think that this might catch up with Liverpool in terms of injuries, like Daps is saying?
I think it depends on what areas. I think midfield, you kind of have said it. They are a bit light in terms of quality in the number 8 role. Defensively, they can get injuries and they're fine. Like, in the nicest possible way, you got Robertson and Shimbakas, calm back up. You got Calvin Ramsey now. I think that's his name, isn't it?
Just brought him today, right?
Yeah, and apparently he's very highly rated. Centre back area, they've got Van Dijk, Konate, Matip, Joe Gomez.
It's just the midfield. The midfield's the only area.
But the midfield's key. We say midfield.
I agree with you.
Do you know what I mean? The midfield is key.
But I feel like someone like Henderson, for example, when he's done the backup role to Fabinho, has done a good job this season. I have preferred him in the 6th role than the 8. Naby Keita, say what you want. I think that was his best season last year.
I'd probably agree with you on that as well.
I think Thiago's had Thiago's quality anyway. I think Fabio Carvalho could be an interesting one as well, if he's utilised in that midfield area. Yeah. I think maybe for the first season he might be utilised further forward, but I think eventually we might see that transition in him becoming a number 8.
Yeah, I understand that, because you look at Henderson, he actually got. I understand it in the 6th role, but I think the 6th role kind of comes with him getting a bit older and they're having to sort of utilize him a bit more in terms of, right, we'll play you in the holding role because it demands less in terms of the up and down thing that he's been doing at Liverpool the last 3-4 years. But if you're looking at a midfielder, right, and you're saying, right, okay, Liverpool need a midfielder, which they do. They've got Fabio Carvalho, but we know that he's on his way up. He's not someone that's just going to come in and start every game. We flip it round and say, right, they need a number 8. We've just seen Arsenal about to complete a deal for 35-40 million for Fabio Vieira. And this is funny because Liverpool actually 12 months ago, I was saying it to Kesh in another group chat, they were linked to him. He's a 5'7" midfielder, 14 assists last year, can play left centre mid, right centre mid, can play number 10. He's that type of midfielder that probably could slot into a 3-man midfield at Liverpool. Now, if Liverpool are not going back in for that target of 40 million, does that give you alarm bells if you're a Liverpool fan? Or do you think, no, at the end of the day, Liverpool will probably have another target in mind? Considering, by the way, Basuma's also gone as well, which is someone they could have been linked to.
I feel like Liverpool normally keep their cards close to the chest kind of thing, innit? Like, we never know what they're going to do. Like, for example, people said the Darwin Núñez thing came out of nowhere. Calvin Ramsey, we kind of knew they were going to sign him, but in the midfield, you never know, Like, look at the Fabinho, though. Who would have thought they would have signed Fabinho that summer?
Perfect example, that one. That was under wraps. Yeah.
Listen, they weren't in for Tchouaméni. So they are clearly looking in that midfield area. They are definitely going to have other targets. Like, that's Liverpool for you. Remember, for example, at left back, they wanted Jamal Lewis. Couldn't get Jamal Lewis. I think the package was too expensive. They went to Shimbakas.
Yeah, they wanted 20 million. Yep.
Werner. They wanted Werner. Package was too expensive. They went to Jota. there is therefore backups in the area.
Yeah,
Let's
and
see
the other
what
thing is, the other thing with Liverpool is, and this is what I say on Núñez, when everyone wants me to slander Núñez, but the fact is, I can't really slander it because I do rate Klopp as a manager, and I definitely rate Klopp and his team's scouting, and generally they get it right. They get a player that seems to suit his style. Now, if he's gone and had to get a 80 million, 75 million plus 100 million deal out of that board, and whatever the wages are, he will have had to justify that strongly, very strongly. His board is not a board that's just going to go, no problem, there's 100 million. So they must have seen something in Núñez that he thinks can work. I mean, we'll look at it and go, he's just an out and out goal scorer and he's not going to fit in well. I think there must be more to it than that.
Sorry, I love that. What you're saying is true. I love that comment.
The funniest thing is when I see that, I think it's aimed at me. Then I remember it's not.
That's 12 months ago now. That's good. Don't worry about that.
So I think they will be. They've got to be in for someone. They've got to be in for someone.
I forgot about Harvey Elliott.
Say again.
I forgot about Harvey Elliott. You don't know how he's going to progress this season.
Yeah. Even though I
because at the start,
but he's
at the start of the season, he did look alright before the injury in that right centre mid row.
Yeah. Oh, he was playing there, wasn't he? I remember actually,
and he's a different sort of player.
I think he even played there at the San Siro in the Champions League.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he started against Inter. Yeah, and he played there. He did,
He was a random one. Like, I remember everyone was like, they were boosting him, getting carried away.
Yeah, do you remember that? So it was a bit like a random one.
That guy on the terrace was saying that he's probably the best under 21 or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
Of course they would.
After that one performance.
It's mad, innit? People, make sure you are liking and subscribing, by the way. We're going through the Premier League fixtures. It's myself and Daps and Statman Bains in the car. Never a Foul's on the way to 3K, so please keep supporting the channel and everything we're doing so far. Quick comment up here as well is I agree Henderson as a 6 is much more better than an 8. Remember starting in midfield earlier last season was Fabio, Thiago and Elliott until he got injured, like that comment says there. As a Liverpool fan, I'm disappointed we did not get Fabio Vieira, but I'm still confident we get one more midfielder. And I think Daps might be right. I think even though Arsenal are spending 40 million on a player, Liverpool are that type of team that will get someone for 25 million. Klopp doesn't care about having the biggest names. It's about who he can mould into his way. And I think with the Darwin Núñez thing, what you said as well, which I think is interesting. I know we don't want to talk on it too much because everyone does, but I think what you made was a good point. And I want to see what you think, Bains. Daps even said that Liverpool, with the transfer market on big players, you could say they get it right. Look at the team they've built now with Alisson, who is an integral part of that team. You've got 60 million on him. You've got Van Dijk, who people were saying they're overpaying for. 80 million turned out to be a brilliant 80 million so far. And then you've got, Mane potentially leaving. So you need a goal scorer, which I think they've lacked. And they're going to spend, 70 million or whatever it is on 68 million on Darwin Núñez. Now, he's another big transfer. You could say top 4 transfers at the club ever. Do you think it's one that they had to make? And do you think that's the right player for them? I just want to see your thoughts on it. We haven't spoke about it.
Ooh.
I think Daps is right. It's a big signing and big money, but Klopp normally gets it right.
You know what it is here? Like, he will get goals and he trusts Klopp in it because Liverpool's talent ID is ridiculous. But would Christopher Nkunku have been a better fit for Liverpool?
Ooh.
I think the answer is yes.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. Like, Darwin Núñez is definitely getting he gets 20 plus in all comps in my eyes. And then Jota got 15 in the league. I think he overperformed his XG by 10.27. But it's kind of like, whatever Liverpool fans criticised about Jota, you can say the exact same thing about Darwin Núñez in terms of his overall link-up play, which is what I worry about. But at the same time, if you use Darwin Núñez as a box striker, hey, listen, his range of finishing is ridiculous. Like, this could be an incredible deal.
And the thing is, with the whole Jota thing, no matter what, I get, because I don't watch too much Liverpool, so I was going off Liverpool fans telling me that they weren't too into Jota overall because of his link-up play. But I was kind of like, I hear all of that, but you know what? If a period of Liverpool's season this season, and actually a really important period when City dropped a couple of points and Liverpool kind of, made that point difference up. It wasn't Mane or Salah. It was Jota that was doing that, and it was actually before, and it was before Luiz arrived,
Yeah.
what's his name? It was Jota that was getting the goal. So no matter what you say, he got some very important goals for them. And so you can't look. We sit here talking about Ronaldo and how many goals he scores for United and whatever. You can't take that away from him. It's the same with any goal scorer, man. No one talks about Aguero's link-up play.
Yeah, which it did improve over time, but I agree with you.
Am I actually just comparing Nunez to Aguero? I didn't do that, people.
I know what you mean in terms of that, and I think Aguero is obviously here at first. He was just a finishing striker, and that came with his that came as the longer he spent in the Prem, the better he got at it because he had to adapt his game. And I think one thing before we go on to City fixtures is that with strikers now, like when I think Safa was saying it to me, he was like, this thing about link up play, hold up play, 2-touch, 1-touch, like it's become such a big thing over the last 5-6 years. And I thought, like, Bains obviously is a bit younger than me and Daps have grown up seeing fabulous strikers that we could name 5 to 10 off the dome in the early 2000s to late 2000s. But they weren't all great link up and all these players and stuff.
I hear
like
that,
that.
but
At the end of the day,
you know, it is.
No, but here, I'm just saying, at the end of the day, their job was to put the ball in the back of the net. And that's what strikers were praised for, putting the ball in the back of the net. So, but
Nunes, the thing against that would be the system thing that football has changed, and we would all agree that system football is what wins stuff. And and again, I can't defend Ederson and then come and not defend a strike. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and that. So my question for you then, because I was literally going to say yes, systems have changed.
I did jump in there.
No, that's perfect because I like it because he led me on because. Like in regards to systems, you were saying that obviously they've changed. There was a lot of 2-man strike partnerships back then. We don't see that now. So as a lone forward, you have to have more to your game because you're playing in the role by yourself. So for you, Daps, with Liverpool, as a lone striker, do you think Darwin Núñez will have a good first season, being that he's got to do that whole role by himself?
I don't think he's going to have an amazing first season. I think his season will probably be rated higher than maybe we might think because of the fact that Liverpool fans will make it better than it was. But I think Klopp maybe won't throw him straight in neither. It's interesting because we still don't know what Salah's doing yet, do we?
I think he stays. Mane goes.
No, we know Mane's going, but Salah's
staying. Salah's staying.
But Salah's staying, but he hasn't signed a contract yet, has he?
No, I don't believe he has. He's just staying at the moment. And we'll see what
staying
happens.
and maybe So the thing is with Salah, with Diaz, with Jota, straight away they don't have to start Núñez straight away.
Yeah,
they don't have to. So we'll see.
Yeah, interesting one. Perfect. We're going to go on to City.
Wait, I've got a question quickly. Do Liverpool score more goals now? In the league.
Ooh. Yeah, naturally you'd think so, but
football doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that, exactly.
You know what? Now Salah's goals might go down.
I'm going to say no, you know.
I'm saying no, because they got 94 last year. So, I don't think they get more than 94.
Yeah. That's a lot. Yeah, I'm going to say no.
I think that might be the highest goal scoring season under Klopp.
There'll be an adaptation period as well. I'm going to say no. I think that's a great question there, actually. Baby. And
Levin said something about the Firmino and the 10th thing, innit?
Yeah, I was just going to get this coming up before we go to City's fixtures perfectly.
I hear that, but you just can't rely on Firmino at all in my eyes. I think he started 10 league games. I think it was this year.
The injuries are coming, Bains. It's foot injuries.
Once you see it,
you don't hear about. Yeah,
look, it's once you see it, like
next year. I think.
Once someone starts picking up these injuries, it's rare that they just all of a sudden disappear. Usually it will keep they'll keep adding up more and more and more. I think the fact that they've gone and bought another striker, I think Firmino's on the way out.
Yeah, I really do. He'll go Italy, and I think his slower legs, he will just go there and prolong his career.
There was a few games this season that people would say, I think this game suits Firmino. And in other seasons, you'd see him start in those games. Whereas this season, I was seeing Liverpool fans saying, this is the type of game we really need Firmino. And he wasn't starting them. And it was kind of like, for me, a bit of a telltale sign that, he's on his way out.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. We're going to go on to City fixtures as well, people, because Daps is in the cut. Big up Cass every single time. He says 4 likes away from 40. You know what to do. Hit that like button.
Get those likes up.
Right button. Exactly. It's free to do so. And then also subscribe to Trafford Tunnel and Feed the Goat below. And Statman Bains' blue link is right there. The YouTube is coming back real soon. Trust me on that. Big up the panel, Cass says as well. What we're going to do quickly then, we're going to go on to City's fixtures. How many points are we predicting from this? I'm going to go 15 for Liverpool. All 5.
15.
What? Tell me why I'm wrong. What, United are going to win, are we?
No comment.
I like the confidence. We need someone to be confident. I'm like,
Nah,
Daps,
but
no
I'm pretty
way.
sure we did. I did predict Liverpool will beat us, innit?
Yeah.
I think Newcastle could be interesting.
No.
I'll be honest.
You said you said that, but you actually thought we'd get a draw. So what? You think Newcastle are going to go to Anfield and get a result?
No, I'm not saying that, but I think all I'm saying is not like that clean.
13 points
Yeah, like
Where do they draw, Daps?
away from home.
Smart. Probably Fulham.
Time, man. You're doing a disservice to United here.
No, they win them. They win them all. We'll come back to it. That's why we're doing this stream. It's good because there's not many fixture streams we'll do. We'll have this there. But we're going to go into City's fixtures because they're perfectly right there with Erling Haaland. Look at that. Cold from Soups again. Love that on the production. Like I said, people, Daps is inside. If you know Daps, make sure you go and follow him. Make sure the at's all there as well. Daps, what do you think when you see this?
It's the first time I'm really taking it in. I've had a busy day.
Yeah, do you know what? It's nice when you see it like this.
It's kind of similar. You know what? It's kind of looking a little bit similar to Liverpool.
Wait, you
right?
played West Ham last time, didn't you? Sterling got a hat-trick. Do you remember? 2 years ago. I was away on holiday. You beat
Go back to Liverpool. Just flip back to Liverpool's real quick.
Both got Newcastle and Palace, isn't it?
And Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Three of the same 5. Okay. West Ham away. Pity. Would have been nice to start the game at home with Haaland, but Bournemouth, Newcastle away. That'll be a spicy one. Palace at home. Palace at home early again. We had that last year and they took points off us. Yeah, that's all right, man. I think that's 15 points. If I was to be a predicting person, but I'm not. So
I do. You know what's quite interesting? You look at the teams, right, that rivaled each other for the Premier League. It's simple. It's Man City and Liverpool. Now, none of them, apart from you could say Man United for Liverpool, and you could say West Ham potentially on the first day. You don't really have many curveballs there. It's sort of set up for saying, okay, 5 games, 15 points for both sides. Can the rest keep up? Which we'll talk about later on in the show. But it's like, can the Spurs get in there? Can the Chelsea's get in there? Can United start well? When you look at it, it's set up for Man City and Liverpool to have 5 games, 5 wins. Now, from that, Daps, like if you look at it, what one?
In London again, first game of the season, like last year.
We had
Tottenham away. We had Tottenham away last year, didn't we? First game of the season, we lost that.
Yeah. What worries you about the West Ham game? Because I feel like the first goal is crucial. If you get that, you can hold out. But
West Ham last couple of years has been I want to say bogey team, but if you remember, they knocked us out the Carabao early last season. In fact, I think it was about October, late October, early November. They took point. I think we drew with them, didn't we? Towards the end of this, like 2 games before the end of the season. Last season, I remember we drew with them 1-1. Antonio gave us a handful till he came off injured. Yes, I think West Ham's not an easy game no more. It's not one you look at, and their ground is getting it's not like when they first moved there and it's mayhem. The ground is beginning to, they're getting behind. The fans are in the right places and whatever. And the thing you got to remember is we have the Community Shield the week before as well on the Sunday.
Yeah, you do, which is the Liverpool game. Yeah.
The thing I'm confident about this year is it seems like we're trying to get our business done early, and I think that's massive. I think that's the thing that's key. By the time, I looked at it before. I don't know. I've said before. I've looked at every season since we've had money and how we've managed our signings in the summer and what happened that season. And every season that we've done our transfer business early, we've won the league. And the seasons that we haven't, we didn't. So it's very, very important. I think, especially with it being a short summer.
I think it is. I like.
I think they did. I'm not going to lie. If I look at that, the 3 home games, 2 of the home games, I think are easy. We got 2 teams that are newly promoted, and at home, I get going to teams that have just been promoted. Going to their ground can sometimes be difficult, but I think newly promoted teams at the Etihad, the pitch is going to be too big. They're going to be run all over the place. The Palace, Vieira's a good manager, but I don't like going Palace. I don't mind it so much at the Etihad. But the West Ham and Newcastle game, outside of the top 6, they're 2 difficult places to go to.
Yeah. Okay. Now that's fair, and I think it's an interesting fixture list. And I'm gonna come to Bains before I want to come to Daps and Haaland. Bains, when you look at these fixtures, right? You've got £100 million player, which hasn't been spoken about in the summer. I'm not trying to make this a Grealish agenda. It's an interesting. I want to ask an honest question on Grealish. Grealish came into the season, obviously, as a £100 million player, and people said he hasn't really done that well. You need a settling in period. We understand with Pep, you know how it works. Second and third season, these players hit off the roof. Now, Grealish is going to go away for summer. And if you look at these sort of games, right? Yeah, he's already been, he's probably going to earn more. when you look at Grealish, right, and you look at games against West Ham, who he does do well against, similar to Foden, you got Bournemouth at home, going to dominate the ball, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Forest. Now, these are teams that are probably likely to sit deep and stuff like that. In terms of Grealish and now his second season, Bains, do you feel like as a £100 million player now in your second season at City, this is the perfect sort of fixture list to help him build confidence at a start of the season? And I'm asking this now before other people start talking about another show. So I was thinking of it today.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because I've always said this. I always thought Pep's plan was eventually to play Grealish in midfield, isn't it? Because obviously Bernardo Silva was meant to leave that summer. So I'm like, does he he still don't start for them in that midfield area? Which is why I'm like, it's tough. And obviously going forward in the front three, I think could be very interesting. Like I said this, I think now, let's see what Pep does with the front three. Because obviously you got Haaland up top. Is he now going to go with the right foot on the right, the left foot on the left? He could go with Foden on the left and then Sterling on the right, which is what I would probably do. Does Jack Grealish then barely fit?
There's so much we don't know. It's when Alvarez come in, does Alvarez instantly get a start on the right or something? And
Alvarez
so much
on the right as well,
he can.
What do you think on that, Daps? Now Bains is throwing the left-footed thing, the right-footed there as well. That's an interesting thing. And Grealish, what do you think?
Yeah, that's why we've got to remember Mahrez as well. We've got a lot of wide players, Foden, we've got to remember, because Foden we think is going to play deeper, but at the moment with Bernardo still there, Gundogan is going to play far less. It's true with Grealish and Foden. I think they are both going to drop deeper, but it doesn't look like it's going to be this season. We hear Cole Palmer's still going to be about and be a bit more involved this season. So there is a lot of... I think when Grealish plays this season, he might start pushing him deeper, because I think that is his long-term plan with him. And I think with the amount of wide plays we've got, it's probably you're going to have to work out where you want him and start playing him there. The one thing I will say is this season... I said last season, I'm not judging Grealish till like November this season, next 2022, because he needed a season, and I want to see how he starts this season, because he's touched a trophy now. He's definitely part of the team. Look, his ball retention, even the way he moves with the ball, his techers is so suited to Pep. But it's interesting to see. He still looks explosive going forward. So Pep said it about Foden, because last summer, Foden spent the whole summer playing in a deeper role. And there was a lot of talk about Pep being very impressed. And then the season started and he played a few games deeper. And then when we played Liverpool, Milner was injured. And so he switched Grealish and pulled Grealish off, put Foden on the left. And then from there, it's like Foden's... And he actually came out and said Foden can play the deeper role. But while he's still got this burst of energy... why would I move him away from playing in the front three? And while Grealish is showing that as well, it is a bit like, why would you? It's hard. It's Pep roulette ×2 this season, because
it is.
I feel like Grealish will start the season.
Yeah, I do. Do you know what?
Where?
I do, Daps. And I think that's why I asked it. And I think, Bains, I'll be honest with you, I don't know where, but I feel like Pep finds a way to fit him in. And I just feel like...
confidence booster. There's that.
Do you know what?
It
is Daps bang on. Like, I just feel like Jack Grealish needs a bit of that confidence booster. And when I looked at the fixtures today, and I was like, right, I want to speak to Daps about something you haven't spoken about before. I want to speak to you, Bains, about something we never spoke about. I was like, Jack Grealish, because them fixtures seem to me like a T for him.
You think Cucurella could
started
be
last summer?
Yeah, because now Cucurella can then obviously overlap, and he's not Cancelo like underlapping kind of thing, and then Cancelo back to right back, and then Grealish can drift inside, and you still got someone holding with.
And
I literally said that. I said this to you on our Monday stream, didn't I? About Grealish coming inside and Cucurella bobbing on.
It is very relevant what type of fullback we play with, because if you remember, if you go back to when Mendy first arrived, right, Pep wouldn't play a certain system when Mendy played, because he was like, right, if we've got Mendy holding the width, then I think it was, we can't play two up top. It was something that he was doing, and it was the whole team was changing because of Mendy being on the pitch. So it is relevant that Pep will look at things like that. And look, Cucurella's assists big chances created last night, I think last year, were insane, weren't they? They're higher than Cancelo's. So it's mad. And the key is as well, is if you've got a fullback that can put balls into the box, right, and you've got Haaland, there's a good chance you're going to go with that, isn't you? There's a very good chance where you're going to be like, you know what? Yeah. To get the best out of Haaland, we need to give him delivery. And I've said it before, the best we saw of Mendy was when Aguero was there and Mendy was whipping in low near post balls, first time quick balls. And it only worked when Aguero was there. If Aguero wasn't in the team, it never worked. So yeah, I know it's the thing is with Pep, it's so hard to predict what he's going to do.
It's good to have the depth. You know, that's what you want. Like when you're at a top club like Man City and where you're competing for everything, it keeps everyone on their toes and it keeps everything fresh. And that's why you can challenge for 4 trophies, because you're able to rotate. You're able to play the fixture as well. It's not just it's like when Manchester United, just for a random example like that, we haven't got the depth, of course. But look, when we played Man City, Bains, we hated Daniel James. Who's the first person we want on the team sheet when we play City? Daniel James, but we don't like him. It's just weird how certain players can suit certain teams. And Daps, I know you've got head off shortly. I just wanted to ask you one last question, because I agree with this. In terms of what Leonard is saying here, Haaland will thrive under these fixtures. I'm going to put them up again, people. These are Man City's fixtures. West Ham, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Palace, Forest. Now, I want to hear what you think on this, because for me, with Haaland, you don't want that sort of, hard games where he's going to come in and it could be against a Liverpool first game, physical defender, and everyone challenges him. These are the type of games where he doesn't have to play great, right? But you're still going to score maybe 2 or 3 goals. I basically could say he could stat pad these games and just, get some confidence boosting goals and, go under the radar, even if he's not playing that great. Just adjust to the Premier League. I think this is set up, like I said, for Grealish, but even better for Haaland.
Bro, when you say stat padding, let's be honest, it's like when people take offense when you say, but he's just a system player, and people take offense at that, and it's like it's not offensive. It's fine that he's a system player, and it's the same with stat padding in some situations. Like, that's not great. If you're a midfielder and you're expected to do more than score goals, then to be known as a stat padder might not be it. But am I wrong in saying that we should expect that what Haaland is going to do is stat pad next season? Because I'm not expecting Haaland to come. Disagree. Alvarez, I'd expect something different, but with Haaland, that's what you get. Like, if he adapts, great, and brings more to his game, but I'm not expecting anything but stat padding, and I want to see some serious stat padding.
Completely agree. I'm glad you said that with Chess.
And with those games, when I look at them, as you said it, I was just going through, right? Newcastle, because I think Haaland needs space. He needs space to run into. Until he adapts to the way City play, he needs space. Once he adapts, maybe he won't. But I think Newcastle's quite a big pitch, so that there could be some space there. West Ham the same, the Etihad the same, but we expect people behind the ball. The only one I'd probably, can you put them up quick again? The only one that maybe wouldn't,
of course,
would be Palace. Palace is just one. I think Vieira.
Palace and Bournemouth, they're quite old school and tight grounds, aren't they? Yeah, I hear that.
But I just think Vieira will know. Vieira's clever. He's clever. But I don't, I don't necessarily expect Haaland to start all of these as well, by the way.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, because Champions League, I don't know when that starts, but also, like you said,
it's people are telling us about his injuries. People are telling me he's got injuries.
There you go. I was about to say, you might not want that to happen quite early on in the season, and the Premier League can be intense like that. But I just feel like
sorry, the one other thing I was going to say on Haaland as well. You made a really good point about certain teams, like if we were to play Liverpool, and that would be a difficult game for him. When we started being linked with Haaland, my one concern was that he wouldn't throw his toys out the pram if we were playing Liverpool and Pep reverts to a false 9, right? Because you need that dominance in midfield against teams like Liverpool. You can't go to Anfield and think we're going to play 3 in midfield and dominate. That's where, even at Old Trafford, there's certain teams we play that playing the false 9 has worked, and we need to continue. And people say, "Oh, but if Haaland was there, we'd outscore them." Look, if you don't win the midfield battle, you don't get the chances to outscore anyone. So it's that's an interesting one that maybe he can get a run of form before he might have to face holding the bench
some
for certain
games and some questions. Yep. And also sometimes Pep what he'd want to do is say, right, do you know what? It's your first time in England. You don't know what these games are actually like. Sometimes just sit and watch from the bench for 60 minutes and take it in and see what it's about. Daps, have you got to make a move?
Yeah, I need to make a move.
No worries. People,
you two have a good show.
Co-hosting with me. Yeah, make sure you're supporting Daps, MCFC. Love. Big up every single time, Daps, man. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Baines, what do you think on that? I think that's a great point from Daps in terms of like looking at the Liverpool fixture, right? And saying going into a false 9. Do you think there might be some games where Haaland doesn't play?
Yeah, but I feel like we kind of did know that already, innit? Like, I think City got a game on the 27th and the 30th right now. Haaland's not playing in both of them. I think when you started 21 games in the league last year, like, you have to be careful. And like I always say this with injuries, you don't know how a club is looking after the injuries. Like Bristol might have been looking after Haaland's injuries quite well.
Yeah.
11 wants the link.
I think without... Say again?
11 wants the link, by the way.
Oh, does he want the link? Yeah. How can I get... Oh, I'll send it to him. 1 second. I'm trying to think how I can send it to him.
Yeah, that's just my thoughts in it. I think it could be very interesting. I'm excited to see City in it.
Hey, like, if I send it to you in the private chat, can you send it to him from the private chat? Is there a way? Yeah, perfect. And what were you just saying, Raleigh? Keep liking, subscribing, people. I'm gonna carry on. I'm gonna send a link to 11. See what you have to think. See what you have to say as well.
11, check Twitter.
You're there, yeah.
Yeah, I sent it to him on Twitter.
1 sec, perfect.
Yeah, that's what I think could be very interesting with City.
Yeah,
because the thing is, City have kind of transformed into like a 4-2-3-1 team in my eyes, isn't it? Like Bernardo Silva dropping a bit deeper, Kevin De Bruyne being more of a final third player, innit?
Yeah.
That's the way I've seen City. Obviously, Kevin De Bruyne might drop deep for certain games, but that's kind of how they got the best out of Kevin De Bruyne in the second half of the season.
I thought he was very good actually in that little position there for me. I thought that was something that I was like, you know what, like I can mess with that. I think it was the Chelsea game, I think in particular, where I saw Kevin De Bruyne looking like the main man. Do you know what I mean? In
his
terms
big
of
game record is very good. Even against United, I think he got a goal and an assist. I think it was. Might have got more actually.
Okay.
Against Liverpool, scored in both games. I think it was.
Okay, I'm just...
Chelsea even earlier on in the season, I'm pretty sure he scored.
Yeah.
Been very impressed with Kevin De Bruyne.
1 second, let me just quit you.
Someone says, what if Núñez scored, then everyone will blame Pep for not starting Haaland? The thing is, I always say this here, with these sides, like, these sides just have to look at themselves. Like, there's no point of worrying about everyone else because we've seen City's formula works. City fans have seen Pep, whatever Pep does works. Núñez scores, relax. That's what I'll be if I was a City fan. Or someone said I was Jesus, fierce.
Yeah, I think that's going to come and just sort out the things because obviously I lost the cameras while we're there because I want to go through the other teams as well. What if Núñez scores and everyone will blame Pep for not starting Haaland? Like you said, KDB as a false 9 was really good. I just felt he didn't have the chances then to whack the ball into the number 9 because Kev was the number 9. I just feel like with City now, the interesting part for me is the element of they're now able to play a different system. Like with Haaland, it's something different to what they've had before. Like we know we've had them, they're sort of Aguero's and Tevez's, and it's a bit like Liverpool. Yeah, they've got an old school sort of number 9, but in terms of obviously their fixtures, big up Daps for that. Thank you. In terms of their fixtures now, like it's a chance where they can also experiment. And I know we're talking about City a bit, but I just feel like with the striker signing they have, me and you know how important it is for them. Yes, Man United might need a striker and so forth, but when you're a complete team like City, this is basically the icing on the cake because the rest is done.
I can't lie though, those fixtures I don't think are as easy as people think. Newcastle away, their record under Eddie Howe is very, very good, isn't it? And obviously their first pre-season under Eddie Howe could be very interesting. Palace, we know their record that they normally struggle there. At West Ham away, boy, like say what you want about West Ham in that 4-2-3-1, whatever they play, they're very, very well structured.
Yeah. Very,
which could be interesting. So I don't think this is like a clean, like when people think 15 points straight away. I don't think it is that.
Okay, we're gonna move on to Man United, but I want to just see you quickly what Levin's take is on it, people. Big up Levin inside in the building.
Yeah.
I love how you just jumped in, man. That's sick. It's been overdue, man. How you doing? You okay?
I've not joined the StreamYard in so long. It don't even feel real, bro. This feels so.
You felt like you. How do I do this again?
I'm trying to remember all the controls, bro. You know what I mean? Yo,
oh, big up every single time. You know what? Yeah, we'll go to Man United in a sec. You joined at a perfect time. But what's your take? You're hearing us, and you're like, you know what? You need someone to come in. What's your thoughts? You've heard us speak of Man City in different ways: pros, cons, Grealish, Haaland. Will he play in the big games? Will he like? How are you feeling if you're them looking at them fixtures? Because I feel like they're ticking every box possible, Levin. I can't really find a weakness. I'm honest with you.
Yeah, with the City one, I sort of agree. I don't really think there's too much there. Like with Liverpool and City now, the most interesting thing for me is seeing that both of them have sort of moved away from the false nine thing, right? In a way, or like they look like they're moving away from that. And so in Liverpool's case, I don't think it'll be too much of an issue because like back in the season, like they were using Mane as like a sort of nine, an advanced nine. He was getting in behind. He wasn't really doing the false nine type thing. City have relied on that a lot more to control games. And so what does that look like in terms of them pinning teams back as well as they did without a false nine? Might be a bit difficult, but look at them teams, man. Like I think they're both fine. I think it's unrealistic, I think, to both say, 15 points easily because at the end of the day, it's football, anything happens. But
yeah,
both of them teams are fine, man.
Thinking about it in hindsight, it should be 15 points. And the way I look at it as well, it's the aspiration these two teams have to try and win multiple trophies. You're beating them teams if you need to beat them. And that's how I look at it. Levin, me and Bains.
City started the season slow, man.
Yeah, look, that's always the thing.
13 points.
But that's the thing. Like, I definitely get the doubt because there is always going to be doubt. Like, there will be a game where they rock up and things aren't clicking, right? You know, maybe there's certain dynamics that ain't working. You know, Grealish can't get the ball to Haaland enough. You know, that's always going to be a thing. Like, it's almost impossible for anybody from the outside perspective to try and predict that. I think it's very likely something like that could happen, but I just don't really know what it will be. I just don't have any general doubts. Like going into the season, Bains, do you have any like big thing that's a big
I still think
question
City
mark
win the
for you?
league, innit?
Yeah, like that's why it's hard for me to not say 15 points because there's nothing where I go, going into the season, that's going to be something to watch out for. Maybe that's not going to work. You know what I mean? That's how I see it.
That's how I do as well. I'm just getting a tweet out. Sorry, Levin, can I tag you in a tweet or not? Let me know.
Yeah, man. Why not?
You sure, yeah? Oh, okay, cool. Just bang out a tweet, people. Make sure you do
Tottenham.
like and subscribe to the
Let's
video.
talk about Tottenham quickly.
Love that. Yeah, let's get it in. Smash the like, people. Let's get it to 50 as well.
Nah, because now I got a Conte lover with me now, innit?
Bains,
yeah, you know we just done Man United, so yeah, we'll go Tottenham and then we'll work our way backwards. Smash the likes, people. Like I said, Statman channel, Trafford tunnel, never a foul, on our way to 3K and Thunder Road. You are right. This is Levin from the United stand as well, where he was obviously there. So big up them and obviously everything they've done in the past and stuff. Guys, you guys slap a retweet as well, and then we'll just get into Conte talk. I just put the tweet out now.
Because people are telling me, Thomas Tuchel is a better manager than Antonio Conte. Like, say whatever you want, yeah.
This is a good debate.
Nah, man. See, Antonio Conte, you respect his pedigree in domestic football. He's getting his signings in. I'm not saying they're going to win the league or they're going to be title contenders, but let's see. That's all I'm going to say.
Wait, can I just ask you, is Levin the one that said that Tuchel's better than Conte? Is this why you're bringing it up?
Flawless said Tuchel's better than Conte, and I had that debate with him the other day. And I can't remember what stream it was when I was hyping up Conte and someone was coming back at me. And I think Levin did kind of back me in the chat.
It was flawless.
But it might, yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's a hard one because with Tuchel, it's weird. He's managed he's been in managerial football quite a long time, but in a way, I also feel like he hasn't because he was also at Dortmund, and that's where I first remember him from before his previous clubs at Germany. So he's been at Dortmund and done okay there. I don't think he won a lot though. I think he might have won one German Cup. Yeah, there you go, one German Cup, and then he's gone to PSG. And when you look at PSG and what they were setting out to do in terms of the managers they've had, he's the one that got them closest to winning the Champions League. They probably should have beat Bayern in that final, if I'm honest, the way it started, where we all remember that game. But they didn't. And at the end of the day, people don't remember the ifs and buts. They didn't. And then he's gone to Chelsea, and I think he's been in, 6 finals already in his time there. I don't know how many trophies he's won. Maybe has he won 3 trophies since he's been there?
He won 2 last year.
2 last year. I don't know if he won one. Was it his first season last year?
Yeah, he won the Champions League.
Yeah, and he won the Champions League. So, like, with him, I feel like there's still progress in him to be made. There's still progress at Chelsea and a job for him to do. With Conte, I feel like he's been around the block a bit more. I feel like he's been at Juve, he's been at Chelsea, he's been at Inter. And I'm not taking anything away from Antonio Conte, but if you said to me, do I want Conte at United? I was always saying no. So like my gut feeling around Conte is, yes, I like what he's doing at Spurs. I do get it with the 3-5-2, 3-4-3, but I feel like with both, I couldn't actually pin an answer down. And that's why, because I feel like with Tuchel, I feel like there's more arm for me to stretch out and reach that ceiling. But with Tuchel,
if you were to choose a manager right now, Conte's had a better career. I don't know why people were fighting me the other day. Like, you know when you actually deep it? I didn't deep it like this. You see Conte. One of his seasons at Juve, they went unbeaten in the league.
Yeah.
Another one of his seasons at Juve, I think they had over 100 points. And then he was the one that ended the Juve dominance with Inter Milan.
He was the one that started it. He took them out of the shadow realm, bro.
And then he ended it. Came to the Premier League
already, though, Bays. This is what I'm saying. That's why I'm glad you brought this up.
Came to the Premier League first season, won the Premier League. Second season, I think he won the FA Cup. The only thing that goes against Conte is his European record, and is a massive red flag on his record. Because I think he's won like 1 or 2 knockout games in the Champions League.
Yeah, he's really struggled. Yeah, he's really, really struggled. I think that's comments from earlier. Levin, where do you sit on this? You seem like, I'll be honest, your body language is telling me, you just had that Sunday dinner and you're like, right, I need to just chill out now. Like, you don't want to move. You know when the people are saying, we've got to go grocery shopping, you're like, nah, I've just eaten, I am relaxing. You look like you've got an answer in your head and you're like, right, this is my answer and this is why.
It's funny, because you say that I'm actually very hungry. I've not eaten, so I want to get food soon.
Okay, we're the opposite then.
But I definitely am on them type of vibes because Conte is he's a serial winner. You know what I mean? It's funny. This might be, I don't want to get onto this too much because I think it's actually going to sidetrack things. And I know we're here to talk about lots of things, but I actually think Conte is the most United DNA manager in world football right now and has been for quite a while. But anyway, that brother, what he's done and what he's consistently done in different leagues at different clubs, he's just shown, an element of consistency in that regard that I think he deserves credit for. I like Conte a lot in terms of what he does with his teams, like the way he coaches them. So yeah, I like Conte. I like Tuchel a lot as well, but I think luckily, or it depends on how you see it, but I think he overachieved Chelsea to get the Champions League. And so in some regards, that's helped him a lot to avoid criticism from certain people because of that. Because people go, well, yeah, he won the Champions League. But then in another aspect, it's also sort of hurt him in the fact that now I don't think he's ever going to be able to reach that level consistently with Chelsea. But that's always going to be something that people go, well,
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate. In terms of Tuchel, we've seen that he's reached the Champions League final with PSG. He had a star-studded team in terms of the attack. He's won the Champions League already with Chelsea. Their aspirations of a new owner are to potentially rebuild that team and challenge for multiple trophies. Now, you just said, I don't see them being there consistently. Is that because of Tuchel, or is that because of the players and the backing you think of the board? Because it's got to be one or the other.
I think it's a combination of both. Because there's things I've seen from Tuchel that I don't like at all. Like things I actually think are very concerning to the point where I have friends who do support Chelsea. Some of them actually just don't even like Tuchel at all. Like they'd rather him be gone. And it's a bit unpopular, so I'm not going to act like that's something that's a common thing amongst Chelsea fans. But when they tell me their reasons why, I get it. Chelsea, we know how Chelsea are in terms of under the previous ownership at least, don't get much time. They have probably the best, youth network there is in terms of their academy. Historically, don't really use it that well, and they end up losing a lot of players. And I always wanted Tuchel to be the guy that came in and culturally changed things. And that's why when he won the Champions League, I thought this is good because he'll get the leeway now to change certain things about the way the club's run. He never really did that. Of course, new ownership, maybe there's hope there, but like his talent ID with young players, I think has been like, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be genuinely angry with how he's handled young players. For example, right, where they spent a whole summer chasing Hakimi when they had Reece James already there. But fair enough, maybe you wanted a different type of right wing back. Your young player of the year in your academy was literally a wing back in Livramento, and there's no sort of like, our best academy player is a right wing back. Maybe we should see what you can do in the first team before we just let him go, and before we go and try to buy Hakimi for half a minute. You know what I mean? Again, I don't want to get too much into it, but like Tuchel's definitely a top coach. But you guys were saying this, I think, on Trafford Tunnel, where it's like, I think he's the fourth best coach in the Premier League, and that's great. But
who'd you in second?
Second, I don't know. I just sort of have Pep, Klopp rotating 1-2. I don't really have a set thing.
He wanted you to say Conte over Klopp.
Yeah, I know you did. But I won't go there. But
that's a conversation for another day.
I think Conte is third best coach in the Premier League. I like Conte a lot. And if we talk about Tottenham, your people will probably be able to tell that. So
no. Well, let's get on to Tottenham, because obviously that was an interesting segment there. And we've got Antonio Conte, we've got Thomas Tuchel, and they've both got big fixtures. We'll come to Man United last, actually, which is easy because we just done Trafford Tunnel. People, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the video. We've got Levin inside, Statman, and myself. Never a foul. Daps was on earlier, representing Manchester City. Big up my guy every single time, and Soups for all the artwork here because he is a G with this. We've got Tottenham. Statman, I'm going to let you start with Tottenham because the reason is you look at Antonio Conte and what he's done since he's come in, and you look at the transfer window already. You've got Fraser Forster, who I actually think is a good backup now in the number 2. It looks like you're going to get Yves Bissouma, who I would have taken at Manchester United. And yes, forget what's going on away from the football pitch. If we're talking about football, he stopped that man right there in the centre of our screen, Harry Kane, from having an impactful game at home with 3 games to go. I think Bissouma is a very shrewd and accomplished signing for Spurs. The way they're going about business has got fans feeling positive. Perisic as well, let's not forget that. A left wing back that, don't forget about his age, 34. It doesn't matter. He's fit, he's ready, and he's the perfect guy with maybe
incredible delivery
or Reguilon. Exactly. Incredible delivery for a man like Harry Kane. Now, when you look at Spurs' fixtures, you've got Southampton at home, Chelsea away, Wolves at home, Forest away, West Ham away. Now, I'm not going to say they're easy and I'm not going to say they're hard. There's elements of Spursy being Spurs in a few of these games, and I'm hoping for Spurs fans in their case that might change under Conte this year, but they could win 4 out of them, they could draw 3 out of them, they could lose 3 out of them. That's what Tottenham do.
They could also win 5 of them.
They could also win 5. So talk to me about their fixtures, Antonio Conte, and obviously with the signings, how you think this is all going to blend together.
I think they beat Southampton.
Yeah.
Chelsea away, I don't think they had the best of record, didn't it? Against Chelsea, but at the same time,
I don't think they do. No,
is that not the perfect time to play Chelsea now? When there's still a lot of uncertainty around that club, and the transfer window is still going to be open during that time. And Tottenham have done their business early. You can't say the same thing about Chelsea right now. So you never know that like their new signings might have not played a preseason game. Like that might be their first game. So you never know. Like, I think that Chelsea game could be very, very interesting. Obviously,
I think, and do you know what makes it more interesting is that the fact that it's actually at Stamford Bridge as well. And I think that does coincide. We've got Dave in there, who's obviously a Chelsea fan. But if you look at it, Dave, let's be honest, like they need 2 centre backs. I feel like the midfield is depleted right now. Kante with the injuries. Oh, sorry, did you talk?
No, I just want to say, like he said, what's uncertain? You don't even know what Chelsea's main back three is going to be.
That's what I'm saying. You
don't even know what Chelsea's main front three is going to be.
Front three, they need a left winger. They need two midfielders. They need 2 centre backs minimum, 5 signings. And I'm not saying that, oh my God, they should be panic mode, because then you could say the same about Manchester United. The window's been open a week, but Chelsea do need some big signings and some big changes there. And if you're going to Stamford Bridge, the second game of the season, I think that's perfect for Spurs. They don't want to be playing them in maybe March or April when they might be finding their rhythm. I do feel like this is a good time for Spurs to catch the early worm.
Like you said, Dembele. There's no guarantee Dembele goes Chelsea. Kunde's been linked to a move to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Today.
Is Chelsea's whole situation like with the government all cleared up? Like in terms of restrictions they had on them?
Like Todd Bowley's pretty much confirmed now. But now that's where it becomes interesting, because his vision of the club might be completely different. Because I always speak to Matisse, and Matisse has always criticized how Chelsea do their recruitment, because their recruitment hasn't been very good.
It's not been.
Nah,
Like,
I've even put their
Chelsea
fixtures up
need
there.
to
We could
become
talk
more
about both at the
sustainable.
same time.
Chelsea need to become more of a sustainable model and kind of have one like philosophy that they kind of stick to, kind of thing. If that makes sense.
But I'm not saying they do and they don't, but I feel like Tuchel, maybe after a couple of results, is quick to try and change things around a bit because he wants them immediate results. I think he doesn't have the patience to remain with it if it doesn't quite work out. I don't know who they're going to buy. I normally would come on here and be like, you know what, I'm confident in players they're going to be getting, but I already said it. As much as we were linked to someone like Nkunku, I actually think Nkunku would be the perfect type of player that Chelsea should sign. And it's not just because he's got goals and assists, because a lot of people look at that. I think in terms of the way they play with the inside forwards, someone that can contribute with goals and assists, he can run beyond the lines. He can also come in. He does work hard as well. And he probably plays in a similar sort of situation to Tuchel's football because he's coming from Leipzig where the German and the pressing is sort of all aligned, really. That's someone I'll be saying, you know what, 60, 70 million, go and get that. Kai Havertz lead the line and having Nkunku feeding around him. Do you know what I mean? He could be like the flying shit. They're always there, just lurking somewhere, popping up with them random finishes, and that could be ideal. What do you think, Levin, on where Chelsea are? And look at these fixtures here. Look, Everton away, Tottenham at home, Leeds away, Leicester home, Southampton away. I'm going to throw it out there. I can see, and I said it with Bains earlier, I can see Everton and Spurs both beating Chelsea if they don't pattern up.
You saying the Nkunku thing made me remember that they have Havertz. Are they going into next season with Havertz as their main striker? There's something funny about that to me. I actually like Havertz, but there's something about that to me that is just so underwhelming. I don't know. Chelsea, man, Chelsea are weird, you know. Bro, I like Broha, but again, like, there is something there that is just a bit underwhelming with Chelsea. I guess, you know, we have to see what they do in the transfer market. But yeah, like, in terms of those fixtures, I can see most of those teams, like, realistically giving Chelsea a problem. Just because, again, like, maybe I'm wrong in this, and I'm sure there will be Chelsea fans, so maybe we'll have a different view. But, like, I'm similar to Bains, where I do still see Chelsea's situation being, like, a bit messy. And, like, I don't think that's great, especially coming into a season where a lot of clubs, or the serious ones, Manchester United not included, are seeming to try and get things aligned and ready for the start of the season as soon as possible. So we'll see with Chelsea. I don't know, like, I don't want to sound like I'm counting Chelsea out because I still think they should easily get top 4 and like they should be like a really good team that, like, with a bit of luck here and there, like, might even finesse their way into like short stretches where they look like they could challenge for the title. But yeah, there's something about Chelsea that is just it's a bit of a question mark. It's a bit underwhelming. Everton, again, the whole, like, you know, Lampard thing, you know.
First game of the season, Goodison
Park. I don't rate Everton.
Half-5 as well, 11. Half-5. People are getting their fish and chips and walking to their ground happy, boy.
It's true. I don't rate Lampard at all as a manager, but that's a fixture. That's a bit of a question mark. Conte, I feel like Conte will do a masterclass in that game. There's something about Conte. I'm a bit biased towards them, I guess. Leeds, Leicester, Southampton. They're not necessarily teams that strike me as like, oh, they could go out there and get a result against them. But at the same time, Leeds are big rivals with Chelsea. Like, a lot of people forget that. Like, Chelsea versus Leeds is a very big game, especially for Leeds fans at least. Like, Leeds fans don't like Chelsea and Chelsea fans don't like Leeds. It's like a big historic thing, right? So that's always a fixture I look at and go, what goes on there? Jesse Marsh, full preseason, do you know what I mean? Like, they can bring in a couple of players. Leeds are actually scary. They need a lot of players from what I'm gauging, especially if they let go of Rafinha and Calvin Phillips. But again, you know, we'll see what happens with them. Leicester, what is Leicester? Rodgers, what's he doing with them?
Yeah, this is the one. Like, I feel like Leicester, the team that I kind of got that question mark by him because I said with Bains earlier, if you're watching, they finished the season quite strong last year. Like, they had a lot of injuries. Vardy was out. And when you look at the wing backs, they struggled massively with that. And then once they started getting them players back in towards the end of the season, you could kind of start seeing where
European
football heading. Yeah, they haven't got European football as well. Obviously, they got quite far in the Conference League, but I just feel like if they haven't, this could be like their fresh year where they can cause upsets. They can, you know, play on the counter attack. If they get a couple shoe signings in, it wouldn't surprise me if they got a draw at Stamford Bridge. I think they drew them this year at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, so that's another game where, like, I don't want to like make it seem doom and gloom for Chelsea fans, but I can see a couple draws in here, maybe a cheeky loss. Like, I think they'll be fine overall, like, in terms of the outlook of the season, but I feel like it could be a rocky start for them.
What? How many points are we going with then? So if you start off, Bains, with Chelsea.
Well, I might just say, I might just mock it. I just had a question here. You know when I said the Broha thing? Because I know a lot of people have said this. Yeah, how many tackles?
Yeah, wait, is he back there now?
Yeah, he's their player now.
So he's gonna get a okay. So carry on. I forgot about that.
I was just gonna say, like, a lot of people say this. How many attackers has Tuchel improved?
He's done an awful job with the attack. To be fair, like,
So
he has a lot. Trust is a very interesting word. The way people use the word trust is a difficult one, but I give him some leeway because he does have so many different profiles in attack. So like trying to piece that all together could definitely be difficult as a manager. But yeah, like you're right, he's not really. I remember I saw like the culture cams thing about that, and he was getting a lot of stick for that. But there's an element of truth to it.
Because when I actually thought of it, I was like, he actually has a point.
Yeah, so.
He could potentially get a chance. Like you said, if Kai Havertz is the one leading the line and he's something different, Broja can run in behind, he can stretch it, but it's whether he's good enough for a team like Chelsea. I'm going to throw it up there. Do you know what? Everton, they're going to lose. I think Tottenham, they're going to lose. I think Leeds, they win. I think Leicester, they win. And Southampton, they win. I'm going to go with 9 points. And I don't think it'll be pretty against Southampton as well. I think Leicester, they will do. And I think Leeds, they will do. I'm going to go with 9 points from 15, yeah. I really am.
So you're saying we're finished on the same amount of points after 5 games, United and Chelsea?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna go with 9. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try and remember this. I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna go with 9. Yeah, 3 wins.
Hey, Dave is angry in the chat,
All right, Dave, boy. Yeah, man. Him and Yusuf are going at it. I see him in the comments. Liverpool versus Chelsea, boy. FA Cup final vibes. Bains, what are you saying?
I can't lie, man. I don't rate Lampard at all, innit?
I think you're going to say 4 wins for Chelsea and 1 defeat against Spurs.
I think they win against Everton. So that's 3. They lose against Tottenham. Oh, Jesse March is such an interesting one. But I'm still going to say Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think they draw against Leicester. And I think they beat Southampton.
You're getting 10 points.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Wait.
3.
I was trying to do the maths in my head. I was thinking I might be dumb,
10.
because I don't know the maths. I'm going 10 as well. I think they'll beat Everton. I think they'll lose to Spurs. I think they will beat Leeds. And then I think they'll draw to Leeds. I think they'll beat Leicester. How many points am I on then?
Yeah, and you beat Southampton. That's 10 points.
Yeah.
3 wins, 1 draw, and a loss. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
So we're going. You're going 10. I'm going 9. Interesting. So we'll go back to Spurs then, and then we'll obviously touch on United before we wrap it up. And we've already done an hour. People, make sure you like and subscribe. We've still got to do Arsenal as well. Actually, Spurs
15.
Yeah. Okay. Straight in. Yeah, okay.
Can I say something? I swear, someone in chat maybe will check, yeah. I swear the past 2 seasons, Spurs have had very, very good starts. Even with Nuno.
Nuno won player the manager of the month, didn't he?
Yeah, like Nuno obviously did really bad and got sacked, but I swear he started really well. And I swear under Jose, they started really well. And it was like, remember like at the start of the season, it was like them and like Everton. And people were like, oh, title challenge with Everton and Tottenham. Obviously, it didn't happen. But like, Spurs always start the season well. And Conte with all his new signings. Run it up, man. 15 points.
That's fair. He set the bar high. Southampton at home, win. Chelsea away, win. That's 6. Wolves at home, win. That's 9. Forest, they win. That's 12. And I think West Ham...
They win.
Nah, I don't. I think, they drop points in West Ham. Yeah, they drop points to West Ham. They win 4 and then drop points. They could not win all 5, man. Oh, them Spurs fans are going to be like, Harry Kane will be on like 5 goals and everything.
Bro, but they do it every season, man.
Can't lie, I like the Richarlison signing, man. I got a lot of stick for it the other day, but Richarlison as your backup forward.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, Can play on the right, can play on the left, can play on top.
You said it. Oh, there you go. I was going to say versatile. Yeah. With someone like Kulusevski plays on the right, someone on the left who can play also up front. Harry Kane is predominantly a striker. They just need someone that's comfortable playing everywhere now. And when you're playing Champions League football and you're playing Premier League football, and people got to remember the fixtures are congested this year. There's going to be a lot of games, midweek games as well. They need rotation. All it takes is Kulusevski or Son to pull up and they're out for 6 weeks with a thigh injury. Who you got then coming in? Exactly.
I said this here. You see with Richarlison, he works extremely hard with the ball in it, which is why I keep saying I think Conte likes him. And I said this the other day, like people were saying, oh, I spoke to a Tottenham fan and he was like, oh, it's short-termism signing someone. I'm like, he's a decent age still, Richarlison.
Yep.
I think he's 25.
A lot of fans are arguing, oh, Gabriel Jesus, I want Gabriel Jesus instead. Do you know what I mean? It can become like a Jesus versus Richarlison debate.
Yeah,
if anything,
you trust Conte.
Yeah.
If the manager wants Richarlison, he clearly sees something in him.
Both are adequate for me. Like, yes, they might not be, oh my God, they're going to start for Brazil every game, but you know what you're getting. And if you sometimes have them people that drop 7 out of 10s every week, Ben Davies ain't the problem and the solution to Spurs. But when you look at the last 6 months of the season, this is a Ben Davies that was just consistent, played left centre back, give him no issues. And sometimes you just need that 7 out of 10. And Richarlison is that type of player that is going to give you that as soon as he walks on from minute 1. What are your thoughts before we move on from Spurs, on Richarlison, Levin to Spurs? You think that'll be a nice move?
I think it will be a great move because Conte has shown countless times he's going to raise the floor of every player he signs. With some players, I get, if you're a Spurs fan, I get maybe being concerned, like, Perisic is a great player, but he's a bit up there in age. What happens when Conte leaves? Yeah, we'll probably have the same sort of conversations when Conte leaves. Oh, he's left the squad in a bad place. Look at some of these bums. Cool, maybe that will be the case. But while he's here, the players he signs, I have no doubt that he'll find a way to maximize them in his system. So Richarlison, yeah, great signing for me.
Big move. Okay, so we're going with Spurs there. Levin's going 15 points. I'm going, 12 points, and then they're going to drop points against West Ham. Whether it's a loss or draw, I don't know. And Bains, what did you say? I'm
going to play it safe and go 13, innit? I don't know where they're dropping points, but I'm going to say they're going to...
4 wins and a draw. Okay, interesting. We'll go to Arsenal, their rival, straight across the other side of the pond. And now today's been very interesting for Arsenal. Like as much as they get slated, as much as obviously their fans talk up online, we're football fans at the end of the day. And I think what they're doing in the market so far is they're trying to be clever and they're trying to improve areas that they actually need. And that is something that I do want Manchester United to potentially follow. You look at the striker department, Arsenal definitely need a striker. Like we know that no matter what the situation is, they need a striker. Whether it's a guy that, is going to score 25 goals a season, but doesn't quite have all the link-up play and everything, or you get a player that might score 15 to 20, but is multifunctional, like the person they're linked with. And that's Gabriel Jesus, 50 million from Man City. I like him on the right-hand side, if I'm honest, for Man City. I think he works well there. He's done well against Liverpool. We saw multiple times this season. Whether he's good enough to lead the line and be that proper number 9, I feel like only time will tell because he needs a consistent run. Rhythm is needed. Can he fit into that system with Saka and potentially another attacker? We will see. However, you look at the midfield, they've needed a number 8. You've got Xhaka and Partey that can do more of the sort of stabilized pivot, should I say. No penetration, not much excitement there. But with Odegaard and then Fabio Vieira, who they're looking like they're going to sign from Porto, I think that is a clever signing. 40 million, 5-year deal, 5'7", mobile, agile, good on the ball, can create, can get on the end of things. I know he only got 6 goals, but 14 assists does help. I feel like Arsenal were, I'm not going to say, oh my God, they're signings that are going to make me feel like, oh, do you know what? They're coming to Old Trafford and I'm absolutely shitting it. But in terms of what Arteta's trying to do and the mentality he's trying to bring with Jesus, he worked hard. Fabio Vieira, who will want to come in and show and impress in a World Cup year, and he's got age on his side. I do personally think that they could be 2 signings that work out. Bains, what are your thoughts on these 2 so far before we touch on their fixtures?
Arsenal.
I sound like a salesman, innit?
Nah, because obviously you make good points, innit? I said this, I haven't seen enough of that Fabio Vieira guy, but from what I've seen, I swear he plays a bit more further forward, kind of.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He plays a bit more further forward. He can sort of play in the front line. He can play as an 8, but I'd say he's more of a 10.
So you wouldn't say you replaces Granit Xhaka or Thomas Partey there?
I think he could.
But I think he could play.
No, but do you think he will?
I think they'll try him there, yeah.
I do.
Because I'm pretty sure that Vitinha guy, however you say his name, is the one that plays a bit deeper and stuff, isn't it? For them.
No, Vitinha's the one that Vieira's
Vitinha's a bit more of an 8, and then Vieira's a bit more of a 10, so he's a bit more of the advanced one. But I think they can both sort of play as 8s in the right system. So
I don't even know
him and Odegaard.
Because I'll be honest, I said this, yeah. I don't look at Thomas Partey and think you're a 6. And at the same time, I think Granit Xhaka is very important to Arsenal. Like, that's always been my it might be an unpopular opinion. I think Granit Xhaka is massively underrated. And I think in terms of ball progression on that side, he's very, very vital. So I don't know if, like, obviously we score for squad depth, it obviously helps his signing. But I still have my doubts if he improves them massively straight away into the starting 11. Jesus, I like.
How they link to Telemans, do you feel like, right, okay, get Vieira, then also you need Telemans to play in the pivot as well?
Yeah, even though, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Tielemans.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan defensively of Telemans.
Jesus, I like, innit? But I said this before, I like Jesus on the right. Up top, I don't know, man. I have my doubts. Like, I think he'll get goals, but I don't think, like, when people think he's going to get 20 plus for Arsenal, I think he'll be in the 10 to 40 mark. If he's lucky.
Yeah, I hear that. I think not getting top 4 definitely hurt them in the sense of, like, just how ambitious they can be in the window and what that looks like. Because for me, I wanted them in terms of, like, I thought Jesus would be a good signing for them, but I always had the mindset of Jesus and an actual, like, 9. So you bring in someone who is going to be your set 9, like a Osherman or someone, and then you bring in Jesus as a forward who's playing anywhere across the front 3.
Yeah.
So if Jesus is the one they're bringing in just to be their lone 9, and that, I think is a bit underwhelming. With Vieira, I've watched him a couple times, and I wasn't watching Porto to watch him, but, like, he was just sort of someone, like, you know, when someone just catches your eye while you're watching.
You're like, okay, he's got something more.
Yeah. So I've watched him a couple times, and, like, he did very much. There's a reason why in the group chat I said, like, Arteta wants to be Pep so bad, because I do think Vieira is sort of like a Bernardo Silva.
Yeah,
you know,
this comment here, I thought that even though he can play 10, they want to mold him into a 3-man midfielder, works hard, can get about, energy. Yeah. That's
how I sort of saw him when I watched him. So very much someone I think it is a good signing, but again, I get what Bains is saying. He could come in and be an instant starter and look really good for them. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but you don't think of it that way. Like, it sounds a bit underwhelming in that sense. I think I almost said Pep. I think Arteta wants to move away from the 4-2-3-1. I think he wants to play a 4-3-3, which is why he's going to go for that. And I get Xhaka's importance, but I do think long term they need to sort of move away from it, because I think they can get better. And playing a 4-3-3, I don't think Xhaka, you don't want to be your long term left centre mid in a 4-3-3. He's much better off playing in a double pivot. So yeah, I think they're making good moves. In terms of how that translates directly into next season, it's rough, because tactically, I think they're one of the top teams in the Premier League. I think Arteta's done a great job there, but tactics aren't everything. Like, you know, tactics, you need the quality there as well to match that. And they've shown they have players that have quality, for sure. Some of their young players I'm very envious of, because they obviously have long-term potential that is phenomenal. But in terms of just that devastating quality that, you know, week in, week out, someone's just going to come in and have a masterclass, like, they are lacking that. You know, if Arteta is looking to sort of replicate what Pep has, right, since he seems to be such a big fan of him, you know, who is their Kevin De Bruyne? Because some people, Arsenal fans, might go, yeah, Odegaard's going to be that, but he isn't, in terms of, like, just that final ball quality where he's going to just do something killer, you know, every single game. They lack that kind of player. You know, I would have hoped that if they've got top 4 and were a bit more ambitious with a 9, you know, they have a 9 who is just a devastating 9. They come week in, they're just scoring goals. It's a bagsman. Vlahovic could have been that for them. He's been a bit spooky at Juve, but Juve's situation's crazy.
Allegri tax.
Allegri tax is mad. But yeah, like, I do just feel like they, quality-wise, I don't see how they signed too many players that massively improve the quality of their team, which is, I think, what they needed to do, because I think elsewhere they've got most things sorted out. Like, they've got nice young players who are going to develop. Saliba's coming back, right? Can he push out either White or Gabriel? I think he can. You know, are they going to maybe sign a backup left back? And, you know, all these things are cool, but in terms of the starting lineup, who could they add in that would make them push the Chelseas, the Spurses, the Cities, the Liverpools. Again, I'm missing out Man United because we need to pattern ourselves.
Yeah, we would sort ourselves out.
We need to focus
Stay
on
calm.
ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of those teams, who can they bring in to be more of a threat in those games? It's a bit shaky. Like, my biggest worry as well, I think the last thing I'll say on them is like, my biggest worry with them is that they have players who are technically good, but they don't have that many players who can change a game on their own technically and like dominate. And so what I mean by that is, if there are any Arsenal fans watching, the game against City that they had where they looked like they were going to win the game, they played phenomenally in that game. And there's been games for them, especially where I've seen, for example, Partey, where as the 6, he will just like take over the game in midfield, technically, from a technical perspective. They don't have many players that do that, like that do that on an elite level. Partey's shown he can do it. Saka probably can do it, especially as he continues to improve. Outside of them two, I'm a bit...
You rate Partey that highly?
I think Partey's a really good 6, yeah. I think he's been keeping it.
Do you know what? Go on. I with Partey, right, I don't feel like he's a proper number 6. But if Arteta can mold him into the way he wants him to play as a number 6, then I'm all for kind of seeing it. However, I think Partey is more better when he's able to ball carry. He can go up and down the pitch, as we saw at Atletico at times. But I think it's so interesting, Levin, that you just touched on players that are Arsenal changing the game. And I actually agree with it, because it's so funny, right? I think next week I'm doing a show with Daps on the Monday, talking about players who can step up this year, or players that are under pressure, could, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. We're going to pick like a starting 11. And I use Saka randomly as an example, and people were coming at me straight away at work who are Arsenal fans, like, that's harsh, you got out of everyone. I just said, hey, listen, I was just rolling off the tongue and giving you an example. And the example I want to give you about Saka is that, yes, he's a very good player for Arsenal. Yes, he's one of their most important players. People talk about him like he's the next big thing. He plays for England, he doesn't quite set it alight. But I said, there's games and big games for Arsenal where if you're looking at your best player and you're saying to me, right, Bukayo Saka is our best player, I'm like, okay, right, if he's your best player, I'm then looking for him to produce the massive moments, to turn a game on its head, to score the big goals. And I'm not trying to say that he's quite lightweight or he doesn't have that mentality of like a killer, because sometimes I think he's quite a safe player. But when you're looking at Saka, I get it, he's 20 years of age and he is going to improve. Of course he's going to improve. But if you're saying, right, we're Arsenal, we're that big football club, and Saka's our best player, like you said, Levin, if you're looking at players to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and go to that next level and play against Robertson, play against Cancelo at left back, and you're like, right, he's giving them a horrible time, Saka's running the game, I want to see that next season. And I'm not coming at Saka, Arsenal fans. I'm just saying it as an example of, I feel like, yes, Saka is good, but is he as good as like what people make out? And if he is the best player at Arsenal, like they're saying, then show me that more. Like, show me more. Don't just get like your nice little tidy goals and your tidy crosses and the assists and stuff. I want to see you like grabbing a game by the scruff of the neck. So when you say that about Arsenal, I completely hear what you're saying, and I wanted just to add my 5p to that. Bains, you're looking at us like you're ready to ask me questions on the chase.
No.
Also asked about Party 6, baby. He's not hearing me for Party 6.
No. I was just like, everyone knows my thoughts on Saka, innit? I've always said from early, I don't think his ceilings is that high.
Yeah,
really?
Man, there's something about it, innit?
And like, even like I said this, man, like, I don't know about him on the right hand side, you know. Like
oh, Jesus Christ.
Nah,
okay.
I'm not gonna do the left back thing because I don't do that.
Okay, I was about to say.
Even though I do, well, that's another debate.
Huh?
That's another debate.
Hey,
I've always
man.
said this, yeah. I feel like there's gonna be a change in football that we're gonna see a lot of wingers playing in midfield, innit? And I feel like we're slowly starting to see that change. And I've always thought about Saka as an 8.
Saka's talented enough, he can play almost anywhere, but
yeah,
his development, I think the right thing for his development long term should be like to try, because there's a gulf in terms of the quality of top right wingers in world football, and he can very easily, the trajectory he's on now, I think he can very easily become one of the better, or be considered as one of the best right wingers in the world. Like, they were linked to Rafinha the other day, right? Now, I was thinking about it, and when it comes to if they're going to incorporate Rafinha into a team, I think as a left winger, Saka is better than Rafinha as playing as a left winger. So in theory, if you were to bring in Rafinha, you'd play Rafinha on the right and you'd play Saka on the left, and you're probably going to get the best out of both of them that way. But I wouldn't do that if I was Arsenal, just because, again, like Saka long term, I think he is just going to develop into one of the better right wingers in the world. So I'd keep playing him there. But I get what you're saying. Like, I feel like he can play almost anywhere to a decent level if
Sancho,
given
the
time.
centre mid thing, man. Like, these don't know, man. Like,
Yeah, but that's different. Sancho's a different profile because Sancho is. I think Sancho can play as a midfielder in like a advanced 8 type thing.
yeah.
You know, for certain reasons. But I think Saka showed last season that he has certain physical qualities in terms of like his ability to beat people in one-on-ones and things that is
You trust
very special.
Saka in the final third?
Yeah.
He's finishing in front of goal?
Yeah, it's improving. He's got to improve. But
Yeah, he's improving. But
he showed improvements to me last season.
we'll see.
Do you know what? Yeah, because this is a good clip in terms of what we're talking about with Saka here, because it's honest conversations. You've got Levin who said, let's be honest, if you're saying that, okay, as a right winger, if he carries on maturing and developing and getting game time in that position, he can develop into one of the best wingers in the world in terms of right-sided. Baines, you said, I don't think his ceiling is that high. I said that I think Saka's a good player, but I don't rate him as highly as Arsenal fans do. So I'm a bit 50. I understand it from both sides. And I feel like if he's Arsenal's best player, as they're saying, he needs to then sort of up his game, even though he's 20, but just grab some games by the scruff of the neck. Baines, I want to hear why you think Saka's ceiling isn't that high. Like, what are your things about Saka that you're like, why I don't like?
I can't. I've always been a Smith Rowe guy in it.
Okay,
that's one thing. I prefer Smith Rowe.
Okay, I'll let you run. I want to hear how you link it to your answer, but go on.
I don't know, man. When I look at Saka, I feel like, Smith Rowe, he has that X factor in terms of he's an elite ball carrier when he has the ball at his feet, kind of thing. And I think Jamie Carragher said something like that. I don't look like, what would you say is Saka's elite attribute?
Are you asking me, or is that a rhetorical question?
Anyone?
Yeah, I think it's a rhetorical question.
So for me, with Saka, what Saka's shown he can be elite in, especially last season, is wide 1v1s, being a wide receiver and receiving the ball out wide, taking people on physically one-on-one. There's not many ringers in the Premier League that are better than him in that regard.
I hear that.
Like, think of like isolated 1v1s out wide, especially on the right. Yeah, when we're talking about on the right, name 3 that are better than Saka. That play.
Do you think many wingers even do that these days?
Yeah, there's definitely opportunities for that. There's plenty of wingers that do it. There's not many that are better than Saka.
Fears. I hear that. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I've always had the thing. I really want to see Saka as an 8. I think he carries the ball extremely well. Footballing IQ, I think, is one of Saka's biggest strengths, isn't it? And obviously playing centrally, I think he'll do gone.
Do you know what?
And I still worry about him in the final third.
With Saka, I don't know if it's a balance of like, because Arsenal are where they are now, they're not getting top 4, and you've got someone like Saka who is getting into the international side. You're seeing a bit of that element of, okay, he's got that extra quality in him. Is the pressure being put on him that like too quickly? Because when you also think that he is 20 years of age, like he wasn't, I'll be honest with you, he wasn't one of them guys in the academy that all the way, you know how, like, okay, when Greenwood was coming up, everyone was like, I know Greenwood, yeah, Hudson-Odoi, they've been talked about so much. Saka kind of got thrown in because he was able to play multiple positions, and he's kind of just said, you know what, I'm going to take this opportunity. And he has taken this opportunity, he's ran with it, and all of a sudden, 3 years later, he's one of their most important players. He's now looking at a contract where he's going to become like the highest paid at the club. Now, do you think we maybe have to give him some credit and maybe call back on him and say, do you know what?
You know where?
That's why I give him credit.
His trajectory's been quicker than what people anticipated. And now we're all like, whoa, what's next?
You know one thing I always say about Saka? Burnout. I feel like he gets paid too much in it. That's the only thing I'm like, you know what? I'll give him a lot of, what's the word, like leeway kind of thing, innit? Like, I feel like he's playing way too much. Like, Arsenal was so heavily reliant on him last year. And that's where I'm like, let's see.
Do you know why I'm really high on Saka? And you hit on it there, Ty. Saka has already looked, in the Premier League leagues, I'm not talking about just world football, but in the Premier League last season, he looked like one of the best right wingers in the Premier League, right? I don't think many people would deny that. This is someone who didn't grow up playing as a right winger. That was like his first full season playing as a right winger, and he's already that good. Like, that to me is what is very telltale of just his ability to adapt.
How many wingers do you think are better than Saka then on the right-hand side in the Premier League?
In the Premier League, I'd say Salah, obviously.
Yeah.
I'd say
Mahrez,
obviously.
Bowen?
No.
Rafinha?
I think Bowen's a better goal scorer. Rafinha, no.
I know Baines thinks Rafinha is. I saw a tweet or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Really is?
I'll be honest, I'm not Rafinha's biggest fan, but then I'm also not Saka's biggest fan either.
Yeah, I know.
I think if Man United were offered Saka or Rafinha, I think Baines takes Rafinha at United.
I'm taking no one.
Are you insane? With all the
Nah,
right-wing issues we
I'll
had?
be honest here. I've always said this here. You know me.
Baines was about to say Elanga.
Nah. I'm not saying that. But I've said this before. Yeah, I'm not taking Rafinha at Man United. I do know what I think.
No.
Rafinha is one
But
of-
you're
I
just
think
saying
Rafinha
that
is very
because of
overrated.
Bruno. You're only saying that because of Bruno. If you put
Yeah, but it's a
you put
massive
number
thing.
6. Okay, but wait. You put a number 6. You put a number 6 with Van der Beek and De Jong, and you take Bruno out. Are you then taking Rafinha? You are. Don't tell me you're
No,
not.
maybe. But I still do think Rafinha's overrated. I still do think Rafinha's overrated. That's my take.
Don't look to the ceiling. You're looking at us.
Okay, listen. You know what? Yeah, I might take him because he's Brazilian, innit? And you know, every good team needs a
Because it's
Brazilian.
Brazilian,
Yeah. Like Jose said that, but I don't know, man. I feel like, man. I don't rate many right wingers.
Bowen, Rafinha, and Saka, they're all in that element of the same bracket. Like, they've got all elements of good parts to them, and then they've also got elements of the game that you question or
You know
doubt.
I feel like if you did a
I'll
poll,
put
You man are
below.
disrespecting Saka, putting him in a combo with Bowen and
I'll put
Rafinha.
Bowen
if you
below.
do a
I'm about to
poll-
say, I'll put Bowen below. I definitely do put Bowen below him on the list.
I feel like if
Respect
you do a
England's
poll-
starting right winger,
It should be Sancho.
No, it shouldn't.
No, actually, it should be Sterling.
Saka
Let me
Rafinha,
get it
I
right.
think, Saka Rafinha is a very tight conversation. It is.
Saka
it's-
Rafinha. No, guys, no.
Wait.
No,
Where's
it's
Saka
not.
from? Saka might be from the same area as Levin. I know him and Tammy.
Allow me, man. It's not even like that,
I
man.
know you, Levin. You
It's
know.
not like that. I actually don't know where Saka's from.
All security and stuff. Saka is like, he is better and he's more tidier with it. But in terms of
Wait,
like,
Levin, where you from?
I'm from Southeast.
Okay, let me check Saka quickly.
I don't know where Saka's from. He could be from flipping Wales, bro. I couldn't care less, bro. You cannot tell me where's Saka from. If he's not from where I'm from, you have to allow me, bro. Go on, where's Saka from?
Ealing, where's that?
Saka. Where do you say? Ealing.
Yeah.
Ealing, that's like towards like east, but like northeast. It's like the last stop on the on the champ.
Yeah, that's nowhere near me,
He's
bro.
He's lucky.
Bro,
Even
see
right
how
into
man tried to discredit my analysis purely based on where the brother's from.
No, but you said you backed Tammy because of that.
That's good.
Like,
I like Tammy just because I like Tammy though, and Tammy's a good player.
No, but you said you do have like a bit of a leeway kind of thing.
Yeah, I like South London ballers, of course, because there's a relatability there. It's why I liked Rio growing up. You wouldn't be like, oh, you only rate Rio because he's from Peckham. You wouldn't say that,
man. That fraud.
Yeah, honestly, maybe that's a conversation.
That's a good debate.
Yeah,
Do you know what? Obviously, people, if you're watching right now, please make sure you are liking and subscribing. I know we veered off, but we veered off for kind of, I think, a right conversation. Yeah. We literally hit the roundabout and went around in reverse, but we're back to where we are. And people, do make sure you like, subscribing. Do subscribe to Statman Bains. The channel is below. Also, Trafford Tunnel, where that is where I'm at for my Manchester United stuff, and obviously the home here of Never a Foul. I know Levin's got stuff in the pipeline, so I'm not going to plug it yet, but I'm sure it will come out when it's ready. So people, keep yourself locked in. Obviously, enjoying the weather as well on a Thursday evening. What we'll do before we go into Manchester United and wrap it up, Arsenal's fixtures. Now, we've got players like Saka. We've got players like Vieira coming in. We've got Jesus potentially. Is this the type of start where Arsenal need to bounce back from the top four, obviously lost, you could say, last season, where they looked like they had it kind of sewn up in their heads? And obviously they're in Europa League football now. We've got Palace away, Friday night, the first game of the Premier League. Got Leicester at home, Bournemouth away, Fulham home, and then Villa at home as well. I kind of feel like Arsenal have got the rubber to green with them. I could say clearly now, I think that's 12 points there. I think they lose to Palace first game. Yep, I think they lose to Palace first game, and then I think they beat Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, and Villa. I just feel like at home in August,
their home record was very good.
Yeah, lovely grass. Everything's going to be clicking from. Like,
lovely grass.
Yeah, nah.
Is that what we're using for that analysis now?
Nah, but you know when everything's nice, like you just feel good. August, summertime, they're going to walk out on that pitch, and I think they're going to be feeling good. Arsenal always seem to start the season pretty well, apart from last year, of course, with the Liverpool game and obviously the City game, whatever it was. But I'll be honest, I think 4 from 5. I think it could be a nice start for them. Big up Reedy as well. Long time, man. Leicester City fan inside. I hope you're all well, brother.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I've seen Leicester on a lot of these pages, bro. They have got a mad start. But yeah, look, with Arsenal, I'll be real. I think Arsenal will be fine on the start. I think it's tough in terms of what the season looks like because I do just think their biggest competition is all strengthening. But for the most part, I think Arsenal will be fine in terms of that start. Like you guys said, strong at home. Arteta's going to have even more time with the squad, but I think the majority of the squad get him. I think the big thing with Arsenal is just like having players that have like game dictating quality. Like that's I think the missing key for them.
Harry Winks.
Definitely not Harry Winks. Harry Winks is far from
game defining propaganda.
You know, fair play to you, brother. But I think we'll leave Harry Winks on the bench for this one, innit? I think if they can sort that out, then they look like a team that's very strong. But in these fixtures, yeah, they should be all right in my eyes. 12 points, I think, is solid. I do think that first game is a potential tricky one. There's a lot of South London ballers on that team as well, so this is my type of game.
There you go, innit? Crystal Palace, Levin excited.
Yeah, I love watching Palace, bro. They just got ballers.
Yeah, and a Friday night, I know people laugh, but that floodlight sort of event and the way their fans are, like
Brentford was a Friday night as well,
Brentford. Arsenal had it with Brentford, exactly. Like
they happens. A couple people, but yeah.
What Assad says, why are Arsenal fans crying about having Palace on the opening night? How the mighty have fallen.
Arsenal fans, I would have thought Arsenal fans would be excited about that.
Nah, my boy at work was like fuming.
Really?
He was like, it's done. Like we're not winning that game. Like, yeah. Like he said it's the worst start. They didn't want Palace. Like he's like, why couldn't we have them at a Saturday 3:00? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the floodlights. I'm telling you, there's certain things. Yeah, that's why when you and Daps were talking about like pitch width and stuff like that, I was thinking like there are these small little intangibles that people don't credit, but like they are like big things. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Massively,
when you have like
especially when you're playing against them teams that rely on that sort of compact type of game, them lower league teams to get the results. Oh, by the way, big news. Big up Football Access. Barcelona got the 700 million from the meeting. Okay. Now, I don't know much on the De Jong situation now, since obviously I said that the discussions are moving positively, but that will be intriguing to see how Barca go about business now that they've got the 700 million. Right. We're going to wrap it up with August of Manchester United. We done a show earlier, people on Trafford channel, so we won't talk about it too much. We've done an hour and a half, and I know it's 8:30, but I think we've just got to start with Levin really on this, because me and Bains just done an hour speaking, and Trafford channel, the whole show's there, and also Statman Bains' channel on YouTube. We did do a show on everything Ten Hag faces as Man United manager, so it's a brilliant show, so make sure you lock in. Brighton, Brentford, Liverpool, Southampton, Leicester. Levin's grimacing.
I'm gonna have to head out, you know. I think the time's looking a bit mad, you know. I might have to head out, you know, because I don't know what's happening, bro. Do you know what's happening, Ty?
What with?
With Man United, do you know what's happening? Bains, do you know what's happening with Man United?
Do you know what, actually? No. Do you know what? I got an answer.
I'm relaxed, man.
Yeah, but Bains is relaxed, and Levin, I'm gonna say this, and I'll remove the fixtures quickly. Calm down. Man United fans, calm down. The window's just opened not long ago. And once the first signing comes through, I do think the other signings will follow. But what we've got to hear out, is we've been moaning about the board for far, far too long. A lot of people have. And the bottom line is with it, we've changed the board and the hierarchy upstairs, and we've changed a few things. Scouting system, some people have left sort of the golden oldies, and now we're sort of like reshaping it. That's what people have wanted. That's what people have demanded. So they've done that. Then you've got Jesse Lingard, you've got Juan Mata and Paul Pogba that are leaving the club. Nemanja Matic has left the club as well. Yes, we've still got to get rid of, obviously, the Phil Joneses. I know the Axel Tuanzebis. We've got still a few players that are on contract, should we say, still lingering. Yeah. But the free, in context, the free players have gone, the ones that are on free, and we didn't know what was happening with their contracts. So in terms of like free things that you want in the summer, we're kind of on our way to doing two of them. The free players have gone, and they've actually gone. We haven't just signed them down to a deal for the sake of resale value. And we've changed upstairs. Now it's about getting the players in. Now, I said to Marcel yesterday from United View that like when you're driving a car, you can't drive all gears at the same time. You go from gear 1 to gear 3 to gear 5. So for me now, it's about getting them players in. We've changed some of the hierarchy, which a lot of us didn't expect them changes to happen probably so quick. We have got rid of the players on the 3 and not actually signed them down and said, right, do you know what? Go. We're gonna restructure and change the way we want to play football and go forward. So now it's about getting the signings in. De Jong is a priority signing, Devon. And with Barcelona's situation and obviously our situation, it's haggling. They know we need him. They want to charge us more. We know they need money, apparently, until today. So we were trying to get them for less. De Jong's in the middle ground. He just wants to play football and be happy. So, like, for us, with De Jong, we get that priority signing over the line. And then from there, we then move on. And yes, we try and haggle in the market and get a few shoe signings in and go from there. But it's his priority signing. We go and get him for Ten Hag because that's who he wants. But for us, I think we're just moving and building the bridges nicely. We've done a hierarchy. We've got some players gone. And now it's about bringing players in. So, like, what more can we want apart from saying, oh, well, I wanted 2 players walking in through the door now? It's 16th of June. We can still get 2 players by the end of next week or 2 weeks' time. So I don't think it's that bad, Levin. I think, you know, we've got to try and find some positives out of it. We can't just keep saying United this, United that. Like, I'm just trying to put real context on it for me.
Yeah, no, I don't think... The reason why I'm saying I don't know what's happening isn't necessarily because we haven't brought players through the door. Like, I wasn't saying I'm arguing, but I was debating with people because there were people, like you said, who I think are getting a bit panicked by it. And I was saying to people, like, a lot of examples people are using of, oh, this team's done this team's done that. You have to have the context. They've had their manager for months now. They've had these targets for months. Just because we didn't hear about it until last week doesn't mean it was just being worked on last week. I'm sure there'll be people who hear Liverpool got Calvin Ramsey thinking, oh my goodness, what? They just were linked to him. Later in the day, they have him. They were linked to him months ago. Like, literally, that's the reason why I know about him, because I saw they were linked to him and I watched like a couple of highlights of him and I was like, oh, interesting player. So they've been working on that for time. Do you know what I mean? A lot of clubs have been working on these things for time. The reason why I'm a bit confused and the reason why I'm like, what's going on is because from what we know, at least, ETH really wants De Jong. And I get that. But it concerns me because for me, and this is my opinion on how you build elite teams, there are certain profiles that are uncompromisable. You just need them. You need a 6. You look at City, you look at Liverpool, you look at Arsenal, what they're doing. Unless Chelsea, there are some Chelsea as well. There are some managers like a Conte who maybe are a bit more niche, and so they like niche profiles that aren't necessarily the standard, and they can make them work. But again, Conte, if you're using Conte as an example, he's literally the best at that in world football for the most part. And so for me, there are profiles that we lack that for me are non-negotiable. 6 and a width holding right winger. All the other top 6 teams have that, right? Chelsea have that, and Ziyech can do that. Liverpool have that. Salah can do that when they need it. City have a couple people that can do that, but Mahrez is usually the one that does that. Arsenal, of course, with Saka, we are lacking in that regard. We have been linked to Anthony, so maybe that's going to come. Cool. People who know me know I'm not too high on Anthony anyway. I feel like he's become a bit overrated, but cool. Tactically, he is a good fit, so he can work, but it's a bit underwhelming to me. We've not really been linked to the 6. I made a tweet the other day saying what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get Frankie. And what's going to happen is that we're not going to get linked to a defensive midfielder until midway through preseason, if not maybe the end of preseason when the season starts. Because what's going to happen is he's going to try and do the double pivot thing, the double 6 thing he did back in the day at Ajax, which is the best way to get something out of Frankie. And he's going to just try use McTominay or Garner next to him in a pivot. He's going to try that. And I get that. From his perspective, I totally get that. You're a new manager coming in, you've got a lot of new, fresh players, you know, coming in, whatever, tried what works. And if they can do a job for you, you know, whatever.
Fred as well.
I don't really think we'll use Fred in that way. I think Fred will probably be used in tandem as like a backup to Frankie.
I think he'll try it, innit?
Yeah, sure, of course. He will try things, 100%. But of course, then you see where my concern is, because we know someone like McTominay, right? I'm not as harsh on McTominay as other people in our fan base are, right? But with the way McTominay is, Ten Hag will like him. I don't know how, I don't know why, but Ten Hag will like him, just like all the other managers seem to do, right? So let's say we get to a world where he decides, you know what? McTominay's doing what I want in this role next to Frankie in the pivot defensively. Like, he's doing all the defensive work. He's blocking the pass and lanes. He's, doing the tackling, whatever, cool. And so he thinks, maybe I don't need to skimp out my budget, maybe I don't need to skimp out now. Maybe I need to just figure out other areas. I'm concerned then, because for me, I've seen McTominay, and even though I've seen him have his highs, I've also seen him have his lows more often than his highs at times. And so, again, that's a concern for me, where we're going into next season, and even if we are making improvements to the squad from a tactical perspective, from a coaching perspective, it's not hard to improve from what we are. We're at our lowest, right? Worst season in modern history, this, that, and the other. So many players leaving. We're at our lowest. So it's not hard for us to improve from last season, which is great. But in terms of competing now with the teams we're trying to compete with, it's getting very long for us. City and Liverpool are improving. Chelsea, as much as we had a conversation about them, are still a very good side, and like a side that don't need many improvements to get back on track. Spurs, regardless of what you think of Conte, he will finesse them to be a higher team than what maybe you think they should be.
They're nailed on top 4 for me.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like for me as well, I think they're nailed on top 4. Arsenal are improving. What they'll be able to do in the window will determine that, but they are improving, and Arteta showed that. So again, for us to just improve, it's cool, it's nice, great, but is that enough? And that's where I have a concern. That's why I'm like, what are we doing? Are we going to embrace the rebuild and take things slow? Because if that's the case, I'm cool with that. I'm not impatient like some people are. Like I'm cool with that. But I just don't know what we're doing. Are we trying to put ourselves in the best position to actually go out next season and get top 4 and maybe challenge for that? Because that's what they want, right? From what we know about the Glazers, that's what they want. They want to get top 4 every season at the least, right? So for what we've done so far and what it sounds like we're going to do so far, doesn't give me that optimism that we can go out and do that. Yeah, it doesn't match that ambition.
I actually agree with you in terms of, like, I think me and Bains even said the De Jong situation. I feel like they signed De Jong and that's 70 million and that's like your priority midfielder. And the board do say to him, right, do you know what? You've still got Fred, you still got Van der Beek, you still got McTominay there, Garner coming back. Try them and see what happens. I don't feel like the club want to go out and still get a number 6. And like you said, number 6 is more important than getting De Jong, even though we do need someone like De Jong, which is a great ball carrier. He has got legs, which we haven't had really in terms of that progression. But I just feel like if you get him, you need someone to complement him. And what I don't want to find us doing, and I used the Pogba analogy yesterday with Bains, and I said that Levin that with Pogba, we know how brilliant Pogba is. I actually love Pogba as a player. I think he's a brilliant player. It hasn't quite worked out and stuff like that, but like, did we pair him with the right person? Did we play him in the right position? There's all these little question marks about Pogba, and I don't want that to happen to De Jong, because we know that De Jong is a very good player if you use him correctly. But you don't want to sign someone for 75, 80 million and then play him in a pivot and restrict his game from when he's able to, ball carry, be up and down. You don't want to buy someone for 75, 80 million and then not use them fully for their qualities. And this is why I want Manchester United to get it right. Cool, get De Jong, but sign him because you want to play him where, he's best at. Not because you want to play him because you're like, right, okay, well, he's De Jong, he's available. We sign him for 70 million and then we still look poor in midfield anyway. And it's about, the team. It's not about buying these right individuals. And I'm hoping and trusting in what Ten Hag is going to do. Of course, if he wants to assess their players, great. But, my first and foremost thing is I am going to be patient. Better football for me first. A plan, win, lose or draw, like Klopp did when he took over. I don't mind as long as I'm seeing better football and I want to be excited going to Old Trafford. I want to be messaging lot in the morning like, yo, I'm going. Not going and watching and be like, what do I expect? The football's going to be boring already, but I'm going because I support Man United. If I feel good, then players hopefully will feel good and hopefully the levels can rise, really. Bains, anything you want to say and then we'll go on the fixtures?
I said this, man, like, patience. Like, we can't just rush into deals. We've had, like, I keep saying it, 10 years of incompetence under Ed Woodward. We don't want to continue like that. With transfer fees, if United are negotiating, that's the right thing to do. Like, people can't say, just because we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire, go pay the £80 million for De Jong straight away. Because like people keep thinking that, just get the De Jong deal done. Like, that's literally going to be United under Woodward. And that's what we criticised this club for. If they're taking time, it's going to help United in the long term, whether people like it or not. We can't just be that club that every club takes the piss out of kind of thing, innit? In terms of transfer fees. Another thing, Levin spoke about in terms of how long transfers take. Ryan Gravenberch came out the other day. Bayern were talking, Nagelsmann spoke to him in October. And they signed him for the summer. I'm not saying all signings take that long here, but people think that signings happen overnight. Like, people think one day you're linked with a player and that's it, you sign him. It's not. It doesn't work like that. And he's not a release clause either with De Jong. Like, for example, Haaland's a release clause. Release clause is a completely different kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, activated. You can talk
Yeah.
to
Skip the whole process.
Yeah, skip the whole process. I don't know, man. It's.
Wait, just quickly.
I've bathed my daughter. I put my daughter to bed, and she's struggling to go sleep here. And I've come out here, and the show's still going, bro.
Lemon jumped on, yeah, and then we've just. Oh, we went on from Saka. We're talking about Saka in depth as well. Yeah, like we're doing loads on Arsenal, then Tottenham, debating Tuchel versus Conte. We've done a bit of everything, to be fair, but I don't mind it. Sometimes you just need to.
Well, it's the summer, isn't it? It's time to get everything off our chest. But what you were just saying about the whole how United is seen as like a club that basically people can demand whatever they want at the moment. Yeah. Obviously, as a City fan, we went through that. We were that club. We were like probably maybe even more than Chelsea were when we first got our money and whatever. And we had to work hard to change it. And I think United sooner or later are going to have to do that. But I don't think they've done themselves any favours this summer by letting loads of players go on freeze at the beginning. Like, it's like, right, well, you're definitely going to need to replace some of them. So it's and I think
I hear that, but I feel like we kind of had to let them go.
Yeah, you
like,
did.
I say
that
this
point where they no contract, so they have to.
As much as I love Paul Pogba, keeping Paul Pogba would have been the same thing for United. Keeping Juan Mata would have been exactly what's wrong with this club.
We discussed it yesterday, yeah. And when ultimately any football club that allows a player to get down to 1 year left, the starting the season of their last season, yeah, are asking for trouble, right? Unless you're a club like I believe that when Man City buy certain players, they're buying them now, thinking we're going to sweat our money out of this guy, and then do you know what? If they go on a free, they go on a free, but we will have got our value out of him. And I think that's kind of like the thing with Sterling. But I think like Liverpool and Mane is a really interesting one because Liverpool fans will be adamant, yeah, that they're going to get, say, 40 million for Mane, right? Now, for me, I don't think that's true because I think Liverpool's board, yeah, don't want to give Mane the money that he wants. And that's how you secure an asset. That's what PSG did with Mbappe. They gave him what he wanted to secure an asset. He's worth, what, 200 million, shall we say? 200 million. If they didn't give him a new contract, he's gone. You've lost 200 million, right? Give him a new contract and sell him in a year. You've at least recouped some of that money back. With Mane and Liverpool aren't going to give him what he wants, yeah? They think that Bayern are going to pay what they want, but the fact is Bayern won't. Bayern are shrewd as shit in the transfer window. Bayern will probably wait till like August and then come in and offer 5 million less because it's like, look, if you don't accept this, you're getting nothing next summer, zero, zilch. And they've already
and you're keeping a player that doesn't want to be there when you just signed Núñez. And,
exactly.
and I think it is a funny one because if you look at Mane as well, you look at what Diaz has done with them. He's been brilliant since he's coming for 6 months. But Mane's predominantly played as sort of like a striker, you could say, for this season. And now when you sign Núñez for 75 million, the pressure from the board is right. You've just signed him for 75 million. You're playing already.
And I'm telling you, in that deal, the calculations of what Mane's wages, yeah. So say Mane's, I don't know. I think he's on quite low, and he like about 100.
Yeah, it's not that great. He's probably about 100 something. Yeah,
yeah. But either way, that 100 a week, yeah. Liverpool's accountants will have put that 100 grand a week in the cost of Núñez's wage because they think he's going. Yeah. So they're kind of adamant he's going to go. So if it gets to August and they haven't sold him yet, they're not going to be holding out for 40 million. I think this is the thing. They're not aboard. Like people now. They're not bored that people know they will want to recoup some of that money. So I think the same with the other thing that makes this window, I think, a bit more difficult is that there's quite a few teams in, and we found this out on Monday on that show tie, that are in for similar like roles. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and Chelsea. We used Chelsea as the example earlier with us: centre back, defensive midfielder. I mean, all midfielders in general, and then you got the wingers. Where we don't have a right winger, they don't have wingers. It's
and that's the thing. Like again, when we were speaking on Jesus last night, and people say Jesus 50 million because I'm hearing now Arsenal are ready to actually offer 50 million. But the thing is, before the summer, if someone said you'll get 50 million for Jesus with 1 year left on his contract, I'd think I'd snap their hands off for that because it's 1 year left on their contract. But when you look what is out there, it's kind of like, well, yeah, do you know what? You just have to bite the bullet because what else do you do?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I
true.
think that's
it's
the
true.
thing with United. There's going to be some cases you lot are just going to have to bite the bullet because people know that you want and need certain players. And
it's true, man. It's mad. It is going to be so interesting. Like I said, people, make sure you are liking, subscribing. Daps is in the cut. Like he said, he's been away for like an hour and a half and we're still going. But we are going to wrap it up in a moment. We're going to finish it off on our thoughts on the fixtures. Obviously, me, Bains, done a show on Trafford Tunnel earlier where the link is below. Make sure you are liking, subscribing to that video as well on Statman's channel. And also, never a foul on our way to 3K. We are slowly getting there. Me and Daps are bringing it back with regular shows every week. So just make sure you're staying in tune with the content as well.
Sorry, just quickly, I need to duck off. Anyone interested in Love Island? Me and Matisse are doing a watch long. So
I might jump in that one still.
bless. But anyway, look, Ty, I don't want to come back in an hour's time and still see you here, bro.
No.
I'll be gone. I'm watching Love Island.
I'm wrapping up for Love Island. I'm in work clothes still. I just changed my top. Big up, yeah?
Bless.
Don't. Oh, by the way, don't clock off the camera.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
I'll be done in 5 minutes, literally.
Right. How do I do this? All right, cool. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll try and do something.
If you back out and then yourself and then leave that there, that should stay. And then I'll literally just.
But I need to use StreamYard for something else. I don't know.
Okay, let me wrap this up.
You can keep 2 StreamYards open.
Can you? Cool.
Yeah.
Bless.
Sick. 11. Me and Baines earlier went through this. So I'm going to sum it up for you. And I said, Brighton, we win. Brentford, we win. I said, Liverpool, we lose. Southampton, we win. Leicester, we lose. So I went for 9 points from 15, which was the same as Chelsea. I don't think we beat Liverpool. And yes, it's a big game. And I'm going to give my context of why. I just don't think that we're ready for them so early on in their season yet. I know people might say confidence booster, beating Brighton, beating Brentford will give us some confidence going into that game. And I get it. Like, I completely understand it. But I said, let's be realistic. Like, when we look at these fixtures last year, I think we only got 6 points from these games like last year, or 7 points from them last year. Now, Brighton, for me, have lost Basuma. And yeah, he's a big loss. Cucurella's going to go City, it looks like. That's a big loss. But if we manage to just slip up against Brighton or Brentford, which wouldn't surprise me as we are trying to acclimatise to Ten Hag's football, and it just doesn't go right, I feel uneasy going into that Liverpool game. And I just don't think we can beat them. And with Leicester, I think that's going to be a goal fest in terms of like a 3-2, but in Leicester's way. We don't have a great record at Leicester. And I do feel like with no European football for them, players being fit, I think they will get the result against us. So I know we've got that Ten Hag and that good feeling factor, but I'm just got to be realistic with myself. I don't expect us to come in and win the first 5 games. I don't. I think we lose 2 and win 3.
Yeah, that's a real tough one, man. Again, just because with a lot of the other clubs you talked about, I sort of have an idea of what their summer maybe looks like and where they're going and what they're looking like going into the season. With us, I'm not sure. And I do trust Ten Hag will improve the level of this team. And that seems to be his main goal coming in, right? In terms of the projects, right? You know, he's talked about how, look, my priority is to improve players, this, that. So I'm sure he definitely is confident in his ability to do that. But like you say, I think it is a not difficult start, but a start that could provide some hiccups. I think we'll beat Brighton. I think we should be good with that. Brentford, I could see being a slip up, but I still am confident that we will get a result there. Liverpool, I know how Baines feels about Liverpool because I was watching the show and I know he has some hope. And I feel like it will be great because, like you guys were saying on that show, any result, not even any positive result, will just do wonders. Like, we could lose against Liverpool, but if we give them a game, people will be like, whoa, you know, like, and as fans will be excited because we'll be like, rah, we'll see you, man, later in the year. Do you know what I mean? Whereas we haven't been able to have that energy for a while. But I still don't expect us to win there. So that's 6 points. Southampton, I'd expect us to win away at Southampton. And Leicester have a very difficult start. I feel like we've seen them on literally every. How many of these pages are Leicester on?
Yeah,
Can we actually just
I didn't even clock that. I think
Leicester
they're playing
on everyone. Okay, so they're not on this one. Not on this one.
Not on that one. But they're on that one.
They're on that one. on that one.
On that one.
And Spurs. Okay, so
No,
okay.
they're not. Okay,
So,
do you know what?
okay, so they're on
There's
three.
a bit.
They're on
They're
three.
still
Cool.
free. They're still
Right,
free.
start with
so they're
Brentford,
free.
Arsenal, Southampton, Chelsea, United, Brighton.
So they got a difficult start. I think Leicester could be a draw. That could be a situation where we do draw away at Leicester. They probably would have had some rough games leading up to that. And so there's also an element for them where it's like, we're at home. Let's get something at home against United, this new United team. And so maybe that's a tough game for us. Again, early stuff. So I'd say, how much is that? That's 10 points?
Yeah, 10 points. Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Yeah. No,
I'd
I
say
like
10
that. Bains,
points.
anything you want to say before you wrap up? Oh my God, I've been at work since 6 and I've just jumped straight on. I've done like a 14-hour shift. Mad. My brain, I can't lie, my eyes are pinging.
What do I say? I said 10 as well. Could it be more? No comment. I'm low-key very confident. But I don't want
I can't wait for the fixtures times to be announced. Obviously, we're playing Sunday at 2:00 against Brighton, but I want to see when the Liverpool game is.
We get
the
15
other
points.
ones
Are
as well.
any of you surprised?
Say again?
If we
Just
get 15
depends what we
points?
look like, bro. We might start the season and there's improvements, but we still look like it's a similar United to what we've seen this season.
Do you
We
remember when
start the
Van Gaal
season-
coming? Do you remember when Van Gaal coming for that pre-season and we were killing every team? I was so excited, and then we went and drew to Swansea. So
You know what? I
You know
said
what
this
I mean?
here. This is the problem, and I think I said this was Zaid. You know, the transfer window doesn't close before the season starts.
Yeah.
By the way, when does it close? I don't know.
I think
So
it's
it's
the
at
end
the end of the
August.
month. Yeah.
So
Okay,
we could have played 5 or 6 Premier League games before it ends, innit?
Okay.
And let's be honest, we know United, we're still going to sign 2 players in my during those 5 games,
Okay.
which obviously makes it a bit more difficult.
Might be what Levin said though. He might look at the squad and then realize in pre-season or even early
No,
on.
I hear that,
you
yeah,
know,
but at the same
these
time,
ain't gonna work.
it's 5 games in the Premier League. It's still 15 points. We might have lost out an opportunity to win that if a signing comes in late.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. We'll have to see, man. Right, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Big up Levin, first of all, for jumping in, man. Obviously, love that. I know it's been a minute since we've actually streamed together and that as well. All 3 of us as a trio. Hopefully, more to come this year. People, make sure you are liking and subscribing to the video. Never a Foul on 3K. We relaunched this week, so we're back now. Also, Trafford Tunnel, feed the goal in the bio below. That's Manchester United and Man City official channels, which we have. And we always put content on there. And then also, big up my guy Bains every single time. Consistent. We're doing our weekly shows again. The blue link is right there for you to subscribe. We're hitting 10K this year on that channel. Trust me on it. And I just want to shout out Soups as well for all the artwork and everything he's done for today's show. And Daps, my guy as well, who's going to be doing a Love Island watch along with Matisse, I believe. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. So, yeah, man, anything you guys want to plug, anything you guys want to say, yeah, this is your time, man.
And I appreciate you, man. Obviously, it's good getting to talk football with you guys. It's been a while. Just thought I'd tag in real quick, you know.
You know what? It's been a while when you say you let me just jump on and we do an hour and 40 minutes.
Trust me, bro. It's them ones, but just little jump in, say hi and whatnot, and you know.
Man. Big up. Babes, anything you want to plug? Obviously, we done our show on Man United, which is everything Ten Hag faces as a Man United manager. That's on Statman's channel. That was a really good show with Marcel from United View. So big up Marcel as well. But anything else you want to plug?
Nah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right, people. Well, like and subscribe to the video. We are out and we'll be back with more content soon.